Chapter 1 Blair Castle. Good morning, Master Blair. It's time to conquer the world. An alarm clock repeated, sounding off at 5 a.m. on the dot, as usual, every morning. Yeah! Fuck yeah, bro, let's do it! Blair screams, tearing off the covers from the bed and hopping to his feet. Let's fucking get it! Let's do this shit, yeah! Blair jumps in place before ducking down to the floor, kicking his feet back in a push-up position, then hops up to the sky in a single shot, tucking his feet. He catches himself and repeats the movement around 10 times before getting up. Blair goes to the corner of his bedroom to a Roman chair with a pull-up bar. He started pulling his 250 and 6'4" body in the air as latissimus dorsi contracted, elevating him to the sky. He drops down after performing 20 repetitions and then repeats the pattern between burpees and pull-ups a few more times. He opened the balcony window overlooking the Hudson River, sitting stark naked as he reached under his chair, pulling out a small brown box. He sets the box on the table, opening up to pull out a cubed mirror, easy to grab off the table and wide enough for him to sprinkle a pinch from his 8-ball of coke. He then layered out a line of marijuana as he unraveled an entourage cigarello and grabbed his glass straw. Blair grins like a demon as he hunches over to snort a line. His body pops up and his smile widens as he lets out a woo for the entire city to hear. He then took a few deep, exhilarated breaths as he watched the sun beginning to overcome the horizon. Blair let himself relax a bit more. He inhaled the THC from the long cigar. Then his body slumped in the chair. He took the time to look through his emails and write the morning memo. The company had been bouncing from discussing a bankruptcy to discussing its most significant year. The past few years as Cerberus had been a struggle until Blair caught a glimpse at a junior associate who worked their way to vice president. The shareholders loved the kid, and so did Blair. His office had become a cesspool of miserable people constantly worrying about their jobs. Blair thought it was a weakness. Instead of working hard and doing what they needed to do at home, they came to work consumed by what hadn't happened yet. They were terrified and it paralyzed them. He managed to show up, do his job, and motivates the team. Why the hell did everyone else have such an issue? The business needed to finish projects, which meant it needed professionals. These miserable weaklings constantly complain about how they're not paid their value, but refuse to put in effort worthy of their desires. No one earned their keep. It might be a good idea to file bankruptcy, reverse out of debt, and restart with factories overseas where they appreciated a wage without all the entitlements. Blair asked the Blunts Roach and took a deep breath, staring into the river. He had a meeting with the CFO about his options for the upcoming business quarter. Blair knew his chief financial officer was the father of his greatest rival. Naivete ran Everbright for years, being too trusty in those who were jealous or terrified of the king of the castle. Now Zhang and his father wanted the company by any means possible. They tried fear tactic after fear tactic, doing anything to manipulate control of Everbright away from the king, talking about how the company is in debt, saying they're losing clients, speaking of his bankruptcy as if there wasn't free money from the banks. They tried everything to get Blair out of power, but it only fueled the king even more. How could a king let go of his castle without a fight? Blair sketched that as he stood from his chair, looking at the river and then over his balcony. For a second it felt as if he had slipped. Blair was falling, crashing towards the concrete patio. Instead he hurled, puking over the balcony's edge and falling back into his seat. Blair's head spun, his heart pounding, and his body felt in excruciating agony. He reached for his phone, trying to grip it to press 911, but it slipped from his fingers, knocking the remaining cannabis and cocaine to the floor. Chapter 2 Andrew Copeland. I was brushing my teeth thinking about the feeling of going to work in a burning building today. It was the Burt's Bees charcoal toothpaste that sparked the sense, as if someone had set kindling at the bottom and was watching business burn. I've been working for Everbright for a few years, long enough to start filing for mortgages, fixing my credit, getting out of debt, and planning my next move. I was surprised when I got promoted to vice president of the entire company after being a junior sales associate for a couple of years. Of course, my dad always told me to stick around longer than 6 months. I lived only 20 minutes from our office in Jersey City from my apartment in West New York. A fine job moving from a quaint scenic view into the commercial area was like flipping a switch into grind mode. When my cart hit JFK Boulevard past the Portuguese barbecue spot, I had switched off Sirius radio to listen to a Jim Barone and David Yoho Rainmaker audio to boost my sales. Focusing on how to beat my records, but since my promotion, I spent most of my time coaching the sales team and working until 2, 3, or 4 a.m. to finish my actual work. I figured out the central issue of my first couple of weeks. I was a top salesman in my first fiscal quarter and only got 2 daily sales. Some even fell through, but I was leading the pack. I knew then we were in dire straits. My colleagues made the bare minimum salary and closed maybe 1 lead or nothing out of 150 calls. I learned many of them weren't even making their calls out of contempt for the company's president. They would complain to our CFO they weren't making enough money. Finally, mountains of HR complaints. I was trying to figure out how the company was making any money with the mutiny I witnessed. I was making my way out of the door before catching up with the lukewarm war of passive-aggressive attrition. The group chat said Blair isn't in the office today, and everyone's gossiping doors were closing today because of it. There was a group chat blocking Blair's number where people shared all the business and rumors. If someone was being gossiped about, they get kicked out of the group chat. I still got notifications, but I was never active in the group. It was distracting, but good for a few laughs while in the bathroom. I'll scroll through the chat instead of social media. Help me piece together why the business was failing. Chapter 3, Andrew Copeland. The sales team had been terrible without any formal training program or sales goals. Instead, they treated the position as an easy paycheck and shrugged it off, blaming the company even on the phone with potential customers. The customer service team had become the most unreliable and hostile group in the office, creating a massive drop in customer retention, and the HR team had become so backed up with employee complaints and investigations to get the employee reviews. As a result, the company had become distracted by personal issues, uninformed opinions, gossip, and sabotage. I felt nothing got done unless I organized people for independent projects. They refused to invest themselves in the company. Everyone wanted to know what the company would do for them. The pressure felt so heavy trying to come into the office around people who hated their job every day. I wouldn't say I loved my job or felt this was the end of my life. I wasn't about to waste any second of my day being mediocre. No one can make me underperform but myself. A career is an investment. Spend a few years investing in myself with the only asset that gives a guaranteed return on investment. People focus too much on money and not motion, so they're left waiting. But I'm too busy creating opportunities, making connections, forming teams, and figuring out solutions to complex problems, not where. We'll have a fresh free lunch today to complain about being underpaid. I make a sandwich with a cup of noodle soup and fruit every day because I can't allow myself to get distracted. Mr. Copeland, have you heard anything from Blair? Our CFO, Wang Wade, did a slight bow to greet me, then we shook hands briefly. The group chat said he was out, so I fist bumped my check Wakanda style, showing my acknowledgement. There's a group chat? Mr. Wei asked, scratching his balding scalp before brushing it off. I was supposed to meet with Blair 2 hours ago. He hasn't picked up his phone and the creditors called again, asking him when we'll pay them, and there's zero money in the company account. Do you think he ran off with the remaining funds? Accounts payable don't go through until Friday night. We'll have some money for them on Monday, after we recover our business expenses. Finally hit zero, huh? Honestly, I thought you were bullshitting to get Blair's attention. We're actually out of cash, huh? So there's nothing for a company outing this weekend? I felt remiss knowing many people wanted to go bowling or laser tag to boost morale and bond. I could give you a sum if you were serious about this team building method. I'm not sure if it will work with the current group. We need more efficient and ambitious workers. But if you believe it would help, I'll pay out of pocket. Mr. Wei looked me straight in the eyes. I nodded, returning his gaze, taken off guard by how he stared into my soul as if studying my very character. Mr. Wei, I appreciate it, but I can cover it. We don't have to do anything big, but we could do mini golf or bowling since most people work anyway. So you look like a good golfer. Care to join us? Maybe bring Zhang and we can get a hold of this bull over some putt-putt. I thought you meant something on the lines of having a trainer come on to teach them how to do their jobs. You want to go off and play games with them? It sounds like a tempting offer, but I'm going on a trip back to China to visit my mother. Wang rubs his neck, averting his gaze for a moment. Probably $200 tops. Last thing our team needs is to have someone lecturing them. They already know how to do their jobs, so I speak up for the people in earshot. They just don't want to work. Wei showerless shook his head. They're not motivated to work. Most don't get a commission because when they generate a lead, their sales don't go through. Then they're not paid well, so we promise they'll make $100,000 their first year, or for walking in the door. A year later, they've only earned $40,000 because they didn't make sales. I explained their plight. These Americans are paid to sit on their asses and talk on the phone. What do they do with their wages and their business, Mr. Copeland? But with their salaries, I could turn my hometown into a city. Trust me. I've done it with my wages and a fair share of a day's work. Wait, you're paid 4 times their salary to do half their workload. The average person here takes 50 to 100 calls a day. You only have to do it 10 people a week. 10 vital people, you might add. Mr. Wei smiled proudly at his hypocrisy. 10 people you find important because they control you, and 10 people these people on the floor can care less about because they never show their faces. You all run this company ass backwards, and instead of putting your workers first, the people who do the least work impact our profits while those who bring in the money can't pay their bills. You gotta see reason, Wang. You sound like a communist. Mr. Wei jerked his face back in contempt as if he wanted to fight me for talking about workers' rights. You put workers first who work hard, or who work smart, not workers who show up to collect a paycheck. There's a commission-based system so the exceptional workers can be distinguished. Those having trouble paying their bills because they can't pull their weight should have been fired and found a job more suitable to their skill set. They need not swim against the current if they're unhappy working here and can't pull their weight. More is hurt by them working somewhere they hate than putting on a brave face and putting in their time. So why do you still work here if you dislike it? I asked, rubbing my goatee and mustache combination. Mr. Wei paused a second, taking a deep breath. This place does stress me out. But I only have a few years left until I retire. So you're the one watching the company burn to collect the guaranteed paycheck. If you're the CFO and this company is struggling financially, doesn't that fall under your jurisdiction? So I pieced together the puzzle in my mind. What? Surely you must see how this is Blair's fault. He took command of this company despite the shareholders' wishes and mine. We would have moved this company overseas to give jobs to those who value a decent $30,000 salary without commission. Instead, Blair remains obstinate on keeping Everbright in New Jersey, of all places, rather than broadening his horizons and giving control to someone more skilled in business. Decent strategy, but why not simply create an extension to the organization with Zhang at the helm overseas? I proposed ending this silly bickering the Ways have with Blair to finally focus on solving the company's real problems. Blair does not want to even entertain such an idea. You're the first to say anything of it being an option. I still don't understand how it would be possible since, once again, there is no money in the bank account. I cannot manage the money we do not have. I could buy the company and move it where needed. I cannot afford to run a failing location here and a new front back home. You seem to have planned an awful lot on moving the company to China, and very little on fixing it, I noted, rubbing my chin as I began to see his exit strategy. I can't fix a grown man, Mr. Wei stares down at his shoes. You can change yourself. You don't need to fix Blair or Zhang, for that matter. I think both are brilliant in their own way. They need to work together, and we can take this business to a new level. If not, then honestly, I'm not sure I'll even be around Everbright much longer with all the drama in this company. No one seems focused on solving the problem but me. You seem to have some ideas, Mr. Copeland, Mr. Wei admits, tilting his head. Well, I've been doing business consultations on the side. I've been practicing and perfecting my training program at other companies. There's a new management structure to delegate priorities rather than busy work, and identify real authority rather than corporate taskmasters, and have clear communication with these business owners and their workers. Everbright isn't by any means the worst company I've seen. I think our problems have solutions. You all want to profit, but none of you want the process of building a great business. So I'm going to let you all fight this out. I throw my hands in the air. No, please continue. Mr. Wade bends at 90 degrees. You're right, Mr. Copeland. You're completely right. And your idea is most beneficial to everyone involved. I underestimated you. I've truly underestimated you indeed. You must be pretty serious. I rubbed my neck at this gesture, taken aback, trying to process why it seemed so important to him. I didn't realize you had been so aware of the situation for so long. I believed you'd been blind, selfish, and greedy like the rest of us. Mr. Way stands up and wipes his eyes. Hey, Mr. Way. Call me Wing. He pats my shoulder. Mr. Wing? I'll admit, you're coming on pretty strong. What's on your heart, man? It seems like there's a lot you want to say. I note him wiping his eyes away. I've given years to my son's wrath and bitterness. Not once I'd considered leading him and showing him the way. Tell him to fix things with his best friend instead of letting the hatred build up. Those two started so well. I don't quite remember the day things got so bad. It felt like it happened so slowly. But you make me realize it's been there the entire time. Such bitter rivals. I thought it made the boys stronger. Instead, it's only made them like nagging women. Mr. Wing shook his head. It's never too late, I shrugged. I mean, he's your son at the end of the day. Whenever you feel like stepping up to be a dad, that's your right. None in Zing's eyes. Listen, I will visit China for a few days to look at properties. I will consider your idea if things are feasible. I will message you in 2 days. I believe they might be if you and Zing can agree on terms. I believe you deserve an opportunity to fix the situation. What? I have no interest in fixing this company. I've already put in my 1 month notice. There's no way I'll spend it listening to Blair and Zane continue their outbursts and fist fighting in the office for dominance. I believe I will send Zing home. Send him to China and have him manage a factory to remember his home. He's lived in America his entire life. He needs to learn the Eastern way. I cannot teach him that. He needs to be able to learn it and understand it for himself. As for you, I believe you understand how it seems with you leaving so suddenly the company's downturn. I'm pretty sure many new employers will be worried if this company happens to go under in a few months. I believe your new employers may question your methods as a failing vice president. Mr. Wing's demeanor changed as his tears dried, and he tied his hands behind his back. This is your entire fault, though. You, your son, and Blair need to fix this problem. If you'd like to hire me for my services, we can agree out of pocket. I only have 50% equity in this company, and nothing in my contract gives me any jurisdiction in fixing this company. That is in the hands of the employees and management, I explain. This is all true, yet it remains your problem to solve. I'm leaving this evening, and my bags are packed. Maybe you can meet with Zhang and Blair, though I doubt we'll see Mr. Castle again. I'm sure he's running off with all the company's money. Want to discuss hiring you as a speaker for the group event, a price on buying your shares upon your resignation, and having some nice tea. I regret not spending this time getting your insights sooner. Your promotion seems so sudden and it was unexpected to us. However, I believe you'll find this company's leader if you choose to stay. I hope you reconsider your resignation. If you left, It would make my plans much easier. Are you done watching the company burn to the ground? I ask as Wayne begins to walk away. Perhaps a little longer, once I'm sure it's fireproof. Enjoy your week, Mr. Copeland. Perhaps you should take a brief vacation as well, to relax. Wayne looked me in the eyes once more, but it lacked its authority. It looked more like a deer in headlights. Is there something you want to tell me? I tightened my eyes as his direct eye contact intensified, measuring the weight of my very soul. Yes. Call me if you get in contact with Blair. Try to call me immediately if he reaches out to you. Wayne gulps, averting eye contact. Why would he reach out to me? I laugh, shaking my head. Perhaps you're the last honest man among us all. Wayne smiled for a moment, then grimaced as he held his lower back, shuffling away. Chapter 4. Andrew Copeland. I couldn't make heads or tails about the conversation, and I had no idea Zeng and Blair were ever friends. Must be some weird kayfabe relationship, like politicians pretending to hate each other. Wang's entire mood was so strange suddenly. Now there's a meeting, and he's leaving the country with no money left in the business account. I continued on my pathway, passing by Blair's office where his secretary Meredith sat working the phones like a pro. When she saw me, a smile crossed her lips and she pointed to the door. I closed it behind me, waiting for her to finish her call before hearing the news on Castle. Meredith was the queen of the group chat and controlled who had entry and who didn't. There wasn't much of anything that went on in the office without getting past Mare. I moved past the beautiful, plump Sicilian woman who helped me navigate this company. She turned her chair to face me, pushing her voluptuous breasts together. Yes, sir, I'm listening, Meredith says, holding the phone between her head and her shoulder, as her mouth watered, kissing the bulge in my pants as she rubs her breast against my crotch. Well, Blair is currently out of the office. Zane contacted earlier saying Blair felt sick and will be out for a few days. I'll give you your message as soon as he is... Sir, he isn't in the office. Okay. Yes, I'm listening, sir. Meredith rolls her eyes as she pulls my engorged penis from my pants. I watched her multitasking as she kissed up my length, switching to stroke my penis as she sucked up my golf balls. She sat on the floor muttering, okay. Yes, sir. As she made my dick disappear down the back of her throat, then moved back to suck on the head to speaking to the receiver. What is that noise? I'm having my morning coffee. Don't worry, sir, I'm listening. Meredith assures the person on the other side of the phone. Want to finish your call? I'm worried about client retention this morning, I whispered. Oh, great. The company's vice president just walked in this second. Meredith raised the phone at me as she looked all around the head of my penis. Meredith bent over her desk as we continued our daily ritual. She rolled the hem of her skirt up, twerking her hips and bouncing in my face hypnotically as I took the phone call. Hey, how are you? I'm Andrew Copeland, the problem solver here at Everbright. How can I help you, bud? I agreed, leaning back to watch Meredith work. I've been trying to reach Mr. Castle for weeks, and he hasn't answered me once. You're a month behind in paying your lease for that office, and we need to prosecute if we don't have a conversation about this right now, the landlord demands. I can assure you we get more inflow this weekend and we can pay you Monday. How much is the bill? I wondered if I could pay it off over the phone to get him off our case and get reimbursed on my next paycheck. It doesn't matter how much the bill is. It matters that your boss is extremely disrespectful, and every time I speak to him, he acts like he doesn't have to pay me. Like I can't kick his ass out, he continued. I wasn't aware of any of this. I realized quickly what Meredith had been dealing with all day and what she wanted to decompress. He said he would sleep with my wife and has been texting her about a trip to Fiji. I refuse to do business with a liar and an adulterer. The man on the other end of the phone nearly broke down in tears, feeling heated. Your wife's about to go to Fiji with another man. It sounds like you need to be spending more time with her and fixing your marriage. So I let it slip on my mouth as Meredith moves her panties to the side, shaking her handy pot sweetly on my tongue.
How dare you tell me such a thing? I love my wife more than anything. She's the one who told me about this behavior and wanted to sue you all for sexual harassment. How dare you defend that bastard's behavior? The caller began to fume. It was worse than client retention. He was ready to throw us out in the streets today if needed. I enjoyed my breakfast for the past few weeks, sticking 2 fingers inside Meredith before letting her move away. From my perspective, I pondered the landlord's situation and could almost see why he was having difficulty. I can give you my personal bank information and settle the debt right now. I suggest you spend the evening with your wife. Take her to dinner, then go under the table and give her oral sex. Pay for everything. Then in the car, have her give you oral sex in the back seat. Then go home and see if she still wants to go to Fiji with another man or with you, I offer sternly. Taking a different approach with him, that's very serious, bud. Blair can be a pig and what he did is wrong, but you need to lock things down at home so it doesn't happen. We have a lot of people employed here that need jobs. Give me until the end of the month and we'll be ahead in our lease agreement. I promise, as Meredith slides down my length while I sit in her seat. Good advice, Mr. Copeland. Meredith giggles while gripping the desk, maneuvering my rod back and forth inside her. I stood up, bending Meredith over the desk, holding her hip with my free hand as I gave her a slow stroke to keep the noise down. Thank you, Mr. Copeland. Meredith coos as her body relaxes on my length after training her to take my girth. Are you two doing it? The caller asks, more in awe than offended. Yes, I'm having sex, but as we speak, the same woman who couldn't wait to get off the phone with you is bent over her desk giving me her virtue. Take my advice, and please, give us some privacy. Email me at admin@copelandconstruction.com, and I'll pay the invoice myself, you have my word. I pick up my pace as Meredith rolls her hips back against me. I expect the payment Monday morning, he quieted down. I got you as soon as you email me, bud, and I'll take my advice tonight. I offer once more before hanging up the phone. Oh my God, Andrew, you're so bad. Meredith laughs, moving quicker, using the desk for balance, keeping her weight against me to keep me inside her walls. I have to be honest with people, it's my way. I take a deep breath, leaning back and enjoying my time as my boss's secretary brought herself to her first orgasm, tightening herself around my cock before letting me fill her up with my seed. Wow, there's so much. Meredith giggles as she circles her hips. I didn't get to see you yesterday. I fondled her breasts, pulling them out of her blouse. Did you lock the door? Meredith asks. I'm not sure, but if I get up, I'm heading back to work. I have a mountain of work left for me today. So I stretched out, unable to get to my office before visiting Meredith for the day. I feel like someone was watching us. You don't feel that way? Meredith covers herself and then looks at her phone to see Blair has been texting her repeatedly. Are you sure he's not hiding in his office? I yawn. No, he's not here. He usually tries to push up on me right before you get in here to take care of work. I always like chocolate more than vanilla when we went to the Chinese buffet. Meredith giggles, kissing me on the cheek. Helps me focus these days. So much stress lately with everything going on. Some people need coffee in the morning and I need to get a good nut off. Then I'm ready to take on the world. So I take a deep breath while she sits on my lap. I understand. I'm not taking it personally. I'm happy to help. The way you work, I'm surprised you find time for me at all. When's the last time you've ever been on a date? Meredith asks me for the 15th time since we've begun our daily routine. Honestly, I don't remember. The past few years have flown by pretty quickly. I went to an event last night. A few of the real estate investors got together for a rooftop party. I stayed for an hour before heading home. What are you doing next week? A whole week from now? She sucks her teeth. So you're free. Let's go to the shore and enjoy the day on the boardwalk, alright? I offer, kissing her cheek. You know we're just friends, right? Meredith asks me as she stands up and begins to wipe her yawning clean of my semen. So I'll pick you up at noon, I chuckle. I have a boyfriend already. I wasn't offering to go on a date, but I have a girlfriend though. She would love you. She's from Brooklyn and we could all meet up sometime. I didn't know you had a boyfriend. About her. Well, I wasn't going to be bringing it up with you while you're dicking me down daily. I'm taking it slow. My boyfriend is getting to know me for me. He's a charming software engineer, and he's been bringing me flowers. Meredith points to the small vase on the edge of her desk. I never brought her flowers or taken her on a date. I mean, sometimes we get coffee to get more privacy when we have sex, but she never mentioned this guy. The strange thing was, it didn't bother me. We hooked up a short time ago at a Christmas party and got a hotel for the weekend my first year here. She acted funny for a few months afterward, and then as soon as we got alone one day leaving the office, she was all over me. When we returned to the office that Monday, it was hard to keep my dick out of her knowing she's such a freak. Now she's cucking this other guy? Man, I felt pretty horrible putting her in that situation. When she turned me down, I didn't know it was because she was in love. Maybe we should break this off so you can get more serious with your boo, I suggest. What? Why would I do that? He has no idea about you, and I haven't even had sex with him yet. Like, we talk, but this with you is different. Meredith shrugged my shoulder, trying to get me to relax. Well, I asked you, they didn't say yes, so what are we doing here, I ask. I enjoy more than sex with you. Is our affair that risque? Couldn't we go to a hotel again or stay at your place? If we go out in public, someone he knows might see us. You understand, don't you? Meredith kissed my cheek. That's not a date, I sigh, remembering why I often didn't date women my age. I know, but this guy is so close to my family. We grew up together. I don't want anyone seeing me out with you and dealing with my family. They're not huge fans of black people, so there'll be a lot of unnecessary drama. Can we take a flight somewhere? Then it can just be us on a real beach where no one will care what we make love. We can try new foods and wake up on the beach every day. Blair's out the office. The Wei family is going to China. I think you might want to get away too before the IRS visits Monday. The IRS has been calling you too? I groaned. First she had a boyfriend who's met her family. Now the IRS is ringing her up. Jealous? I'm peachy. Your family's racist? I rubbed my chin. No, of course. They're not racist. My parents are more so... They're white supremacists. I sigh. Baby, don't even focus on them. See, I keep us separate. We enjoy ourselves. My family's nosy and miserable. I want us to get together, but you don't seem like the husband type. I want a family eventually. I at least want to use my youth while I have it. I'm not rushing to be with one person for the rest of my life, I admit. Well, you've been trying to get me pregnant, but you've never asked me to marry you or sleep over at your place, Meredith shrugged. I'm not trying to get you pregnant. We can use condoms. Does it bother you? Well, it used to, but then I found someone who worships me, so I can worship you. I'm serious, Andrew. I'm yours fully and always, whenever you want me, but I think he's going to propose soon. She slid back into my lap. Am I just your fetish? I ask as she raises her hips and pulls me back into her heat. Andrew, you're my black king. I've been taking a black experience class in school. I know you're a royalty. I'm telling you, I want you. You can propose to me first. What? I wanted to understand better what you were going through, so I took a class, like you always suggest. Learn about what can elevate you instead of distracting trivia. I'm yours whenever you want to marry me. Meredith continued in my ear. What about your boyfriend? You want me to marry you? You just told me we're just friends. Well, if it bothers you, let me move in with you. I still stay with my parents, and he always visits me. If you want to make things legit, I'm yours. Meredith repeats, giving me every hint a woman possibly could. Let me think it over and check out some plane prices. I had too much on my mind to have to deal with a wedding proposal as well. Well, I have a plug for plane tickets, she smiles. I want to just rent out my dude's jet one way and back. I can pick you up at noon tomorrow, and then we can head off south to Barbados or Antigua for the weekend. I think that one of my favors one of my investees owes me for his luxury jetliners. If I'm going to the Caribbean, we better stay more than a week. Meredith pulled my chin to stare directly in my eyes, hoping for me to return her unrequited feelings. You want to fly commercial? You're trying to flex on me by taking a jet, she retorts as if I had lost my mind. Save your money, baby. We can go to Florida or California. I'm not some high-maintenance chick you need to flex on. I can be loyal. I think I would be a great woman for you. If you took me serious, I would like to marry you. You love me? It amused me she thought a private jet was flexing. I love this dick too, Meredith moans as she reaches her second orgasm, her body going to spasms as she clings to my body. Do you love me? I repeat. I do. Meredith looked my eyes. Yes, I love you, baby. Do you love me? I wasn't the one talking about marriage, I sigh. And that's why I have a boyfriend, she smirks, easing further down on my length. You're my friend. I always go to you first with any problem, and I love sex with you. When the coast is clear, we have some privacy. I like what we have, but I know eventually you'll find someone else, or my boyfriend will find out. I know one day this will end abruptly. I want a wedding, and someone who will take care of my family. I know you'll be a good father, but I don't know if you want to be a husband. I don't know. I let her off my lap. So, is this the last time? Meredith frowned as she began fixing clothes and fixing her hem. No vacation then? Well, maybe we can still go out for this weekend for one last fling. Then maybe, just maybe, if you feel like proposing, we can be together. Fiancé trumps boyfriend every day. Meredith giggles, perking up a bit. Let's do it. Take a couple weeks off before my last week working here. I decide as I stretch onto my feet. You're leaving the company? Meredith's mood shifted quickly to concern. Yeah, I put in my 1 month a week ago. I've been quiet about it. You good? I shrugged. I mean, is that smart? Did you think it through, or do you have another job lined up? Many people haven't walked off in the middle of their shifts because they feel like you'll fix this place. You can't just abandon all of them, Meredith pouted. So I'll announce my resignation, take a vacation, then come back to focus on my real estate business. I reassured her I had a plan. Oh, you've been doing real estate? Well, that's also a good idea. I guess that's good for you. Meredith sighs. I'm going to need this vacation because if you leave, I'm out of here. Can I use your card to buy the tickets and maybe some lingerie? I don't entertain too many bad ideas, to be honest. I let her straighten my tie as I grab her wallet. Oh, look, what I found. A debit card. And guess who got paid today? You want me to pay? Meredith shoved me away. Hey, I wanted a jet. I figured if you want to fly commercial, you took responsibility for this suggestion. You need to fund your method if you want us to back your idea. If you invest in the tickets, I'll get someone with all-inclusive, beautiful view. We could live on the beach for 2 weeks. I explained my mentality. Fine. Meredith looked torn. I wanted to get my hair done. Your hair looks fine, and you don't need any special panties from me. Wear any swimsuit you want. Let's have a good time, like some teenagers heading to Six Flags. You'll probably be naked whenever in the hotel room anyway. Okay, let's take a jet since you'll pay for it. Gladly. I'll pay for the jet, and you pay for the hotel. No, I don't want to pay at all, Meredith cries out, throwing her hands up. Well, now you see why we aren't getting married, I smirk. You're such a smart ass. You got it all figured out, huh? Meredith rolled her eyes. I never said all that. I'll put words in my mouth. If you invest in me, then I give you your ROI. I'm no one's sugar daddy or ATM. If you want to mastermind with me, then I'll take you as my partner. I kissed her down her ear to her shoulders, admiring the frame of her body, wanting to feel her one last time before I left. Will you teach me how to do real estate and make money as you do? Meredith asked, rubbing her chin. I'll do you better. I'll connect you to the ones who taught me. I want to learn from you, though. Oh, I blushed, surprised at how much it impressed me. So, I'll swing by the mall during my lunch to get some lingerie. I want to eat Panera while I buy my tickets. Oh my god, I'm so excited. And this means I get to pick where we go, right? Meredith grinned. I guess so. Surprise me. Send me the details and I'll book a good hotel. I smile, rubbing her back and kissing her forehead. Oh my god, this is going to be so great. I'll invest if that's what you need to see in me. I'll let you know where we're going by morning, okay? I need to figure out what to tell my boyfriend. Don't tell him shit, I say firmly. Keep him out of it entirely. I have to tell him something. He wanted to go pumpkin picking this weekend. Sometimes silence is better than lying to someone, so... I think so anyway. If you two are in a serious relationship, I'm not trying to ruin that. If you have someone who cares about you, stay at home. Pumpkin picking sounds cuter than getting dick down for 2 weeks. I'm trying to make a home with you, Andrew. If you didn't keep pushing me away and playing hard to get, I wouldn't even have a boyfriend. God, what are we doing?
Is this adultery? What am I gonna tell him about his period? One day I'm just getting married to another man? Sounds like you love him. I don't want to hurt him. Meredith covers her mouth. I think maybe you and I should take a break. You focus on your relationship, then hit me up every once in a while to catch up. I don't want to be your booty call while I'm in an established relationship. I want to establish a relationship with you, Andrew. What are you not understanding? Meredith buries her face in her hands. I guess I don't understand myself. I should be concerned that you have a boyfriend, but I'm not. I should propose to you and use this weekend as a honeymoon, but I'm distracted by this company's problems, even to consider my own life. Before this, Mr. Wang was talking about how bad the company was doing again. I have to meet with 2 more sales teams today and sift through all the paperwork left on my desk. We can talk more about marriage and what we want from our relationships this weekend, alright? I'll have you all to myself. Then we can build up your real estate company for a few years, have a baby, move to Miami. Why does it have to be Miami? I chuckle. Anywhere that's 75 degrees, the coldest, with a beautiful beach and boardwalk food. Meredith muses, holding my hand to her heart. If you like negative 30 degrees after windshield for only 3 months, you can move down to Atlantic City, I smirk. I grew up on Seaside Isle. I know all about the lake effect. I never want to be cold in winter again. Maybe we can move to Accra or Johannesburg. Meredith squeezes my hand tight. Why not? Just get a beach house and you can enjoy all the seasons in some randomly different environment, I suggest. Is that what you'll do? I'm an administrative assistant. I barely make over $30K a year. I like Chipotle and steak too much to save money for a beach house. Plus, I take at least 1 major vacation a year. I could never imagine having a beach house. Meredith held her breath. Oh. I shrugged, thinking of the few I've had built from the ground up, dotted around the U.S. to get away whenever I needed alone time. What's oh? Meredith claps her fingers together. I own a few beach houses. It's pretty silly once you give it a little thought. I can't live in each house at once, I can't sleep in 2 beds. I pondered for a moment, seeing if there was a nugget of wisdom for me to use. I guess I see what you mean. So you have other people living in your houses because you can't live there yourself? Meredith frowns a bit, probably thinking about her boyfriend. How many houses do you own? There better not be anyone inside my houses. Off the top of my head, I personally own about 100 properties after this past fiscal quarter. A few dozen of those properties are multifamily units. How much money does Blair pay you? Meredith held her breath in amazement. The same girl sleeping on me when I was on the sales team. I was making money before I even met Blair. I've been doing real estate forever, but I like having a job to get out the house. I don't get much time to myself since working at this fugazi company. Everybody takes more of my time than any one of my investments. I give money to other people to do what they're good at, sit back, and collect a check. She smirked. I hate when you use that word. You taught me that word, I chuckle. How many girls do you date? Meredith slides in, tapping her foot. But I've been expecting it. I don't have time to go on dates. As I told you, you're the only woman I talk to or mess with besides one of my tenants, but that's like a different situation. She didn't pay rent? I grinned into ear. No, it's nothing like that. I just still collect rent faithfully. A gentleman never kisses and tells. All right, you better spill some details before you give me some STD. We haven't had sex, Whenever I come to pick up my rent money, my tenant cooks a lot of food for me, has some wine, we dance for a little bit. She's been renting for me for a few years now. We never had sex, though. She's a widower. After 30 years of marriage, I think it helps her out. Everyone's fallen in love with you, huh? I doubt it. I roll my eyes. I don't define myself by the woman I date or don't date. I have way too much to deal with to worry about friends or fucking right now. If the right woman comes along, she'll understand what I'm doing is historic. I'll be the biggest name in real estate on earth. I only see women ruining it for other guys. They get too caught up in the wrong woman. She distracts him from the business because she isn't a business owner. Then he must choose between his purpose and passion. We both have to be aligned. It isn't a choice to make. But choosing is the same as Adam and Eve. You said profound when you want to be, Andy.
I'll buy the tickets during my break, and then I'll text you the details. And I want to go dancing now, so bring a nice outfit. I want to go to a country with amazing music, and we'll dance every day. And when you're tired, then maybe I'll dance just for you. Meredith grips my tie, kissing me deeply. Sounds like your dream. I kiss her forehead. One of them. My real dream is getting married. She lets my tie go and brushes my cheek. I don't think it's yours. I would never stop you from your business. You could teach me, then I can help you out. I'm not sure it's something you can teach. It isn't for everyone. Maybe certain aspects. Maybe let's talk about it this weekend. I'll consider it if I don't bore you about hidden fees and how to hire good contractors over breakfast. All right. Enjoy work, baby. If you need a little more stress relief, Blair's out today. Feel free to stop by and visit me. Meredith zips up my pants and wipes away the bit of semen from my slacks. If anyone asks you, Blair is sick. Are you dating Blair? I asked, wondering if I knew her boyfriend. No. He tries to smash heavy, but I pass on it every time. Blair's too much energy. He would probably be humping fast as hell without moving his hips. Blair's the only person I know who comes to work full of energy. Plus, one of the interns told me he's firing with a pistol, not a shotgun, so I wouldn't even feel him inside me after being with you. That's what I'm afraid of with my boyfriend. You've thought about it? A guy tries to smash after 4 years working for him, then you consider it once or twice to shut him up, but it would only feed their ego. I like you because you don't make me feel like a trophy. You enjoy this wet-ass pussy, okay? Meredith imitates her favorite rapper, then lets me move on my way. When I leave, I see a few female employees giggling to themselves as I pass by with the eggs on my face as they stand directly out the door. Hey, Mr. Copeland, did you enjoy yourself? One is bold enough to ask. The real question is, did she enjoy herself? I reply with a relaxed smile, continuing on my pathway, listening to him snicker behind.
Chapter 4. Andrew Copeland. I couldn't make heads or tails about the conversation, and I had no idea Zang and Blair were ever friends. Must be some weird kayfabe relationship, like politicians pretending to hate each other. Wang's entire mood was so strange suddenly. Now there's a meeting, and he's leaving the country with no money left in the business account. I continued on my pathway, passing by Blair's office where his secretary Meredith sat working the phones like a pro. When she saw me, a smile crossed her lips and she pointed to the door. I closed it behind me, waiting for her to finish her call before hearing the news on Castle. Meredith was the queen of the group chat and controlled who had entry and who didn't. There wasn't much of anything that went on in the office without getting past Mayor. I moved past the beautiful, plump Sicilian woman who helped me navigate this company. She turned her chair to face me, pushing her voluptuous breasts together. Yes, sir, I'm listening, Meredith says, holding the phone between her head and her shoulder, as her mouth watered, kissing the bulge in my pants as she rubs her breast against my crotch. Well, Blair is currently out of the office. Zane contacted earlier saying Blair felt sick and would be out for a few days. I'll give you your message as soon as he is... Sir, he isn't in the office. Okay. Yes, I'm listening, sir. Meredith rolls her eyes as she pulls my engorged penis from my pants. I watched her multitasking as she kissed up my length, switching to stroke my penis as she sucked up my golf balls. She sat on the floor muttering, okay. Yes, sir. As she made my dick disappear down the back of her throat, then moved back to suck on the head to speaking to the receiver. What is that noise? I'm having my morning coffee. Don't worry, sir, I'm listening. Meredith assures the person on the other side of the phone. Want to finish your call? I'm worried about client retention this morning, I whispered. Oh, great. The company's vice president just walked in this second. Meredith raised the phone at me as she looked all around the head of my penis. Meredith bent over her desk as we continued our daily ritual. She rolled the hem of her skirt up, twerking her hips and bouncing in my face hypnotically as I took the phone call. Hey, how are you? I'm Andrew Copeland, the problem solver here at Everbright. How can I help you, bud? I agreed, leaning back to watch Meredith work. I've been trying to reach Mr. Castle for weeks, and he hasn't answered me once. You're a month behind in paying your lease for that office, and we need to prosecute if we don't have a conversation about this right now, the landlord demands. I can assure you we get more inflow this weekend and we can pay you Monday. How much is the bill? I wondered if I could pay it off over the phone to get him off our case and get reimbursed on my next paycheck. It doesn't matter how much the bill is. It matters that your boss is extremely disrespectful, and every time I speak to him, he acts like he doesn't have to pay me. Like I can't kick his ass out, he continued. I wasn't aware of any of this. I realized quickly what Meredith had been dealing with all day and why she wanted to decompress. He said he would sleep with my wife and has been texting her about a trip to Fiji. I refuse to do business with a liar and an adulterer. The man on the other end of the phone nearly broke down in tears, feeling heated. Your wife's about to go to Fiji with another man. It sounds like you need to be spending more time with her and fixing your marriage. So I let it slip on my mouth as Meredith moves her panties to the side, shaking her handy pot sweetly on my tongue.
How dare you tell me such a thing? I love my wife more than anything. She's the one who told me about this behavior and wanted to sue you all for sexual harassment. How dare you defend that bastard's behavior? The caller began to fume. It was worse than client retention. He was ready to throw us out in the streets today if needed. I enjoyed my breakfast for the past few weeks, sticking 2 fingers inside Meredith before letting her move away. From my perspective, I pondered the landlord's situation and could almost see why he was having difficulty. I can give you my personal bank information and settle the debt right now. I suggest you spend the evening with your wife. Take her to dinner, then go under the table and give her oral sex. Pay for everything. Then in the car, have her give you oral sex in the back seat. Then go home and see if she still wants to go to Fiji with another man or with you, I offer sternly. Taking a different approach with him, that's very serious, bud. Blair can be a pig and what he did is wrong, but you need to lock things down at home so it doesn't happen. We have a lot of people employed here that need jobs. Give me until the end of the month and we'll be ahead in our lease agreement. I promise, as Meredith slides down my length while I sit in her seat. Good advice, Mr. Copeland. Meredith giggles while gripping the desk, maneuvering my rod back and forth inside her. I stood up, bending Meredith over the desk, holding her hip with my free hand as I gave her a slow stroke to keep the noise down. Thank you, Mr. Copeland. Meredith coos as her body relaxes on my length after training her to take my girth. Are you two doing it? The caller asks, more in awe than offended. Yes, I'm having sex, but as we speak, the same woman who couldn't wait to get off the phone with you is bent over her desk giving me her virtue. Take my advice, and please, give us some privacy. Email me at admin@copelandconstruction.com, and I'll pay the invoice myself. You have my word. I pick up my pace as Meredith rolls her hips back against me. I expect the payment Monday morning, he quieted down. I got you as soon as you email me, bud, and I'll take my advice today. I offer once more before hanging up the phone. Oh my God, Andrew, you're so bad. Meredith laughs, moving quicker, using the desk for balance, keeping her weight against me to keep me inside her walls. I have to be honest with people. It's my way. I take a deep breath, leaning back and enjoying my time as my boss's secretary brought herself to her first orgasm, tightening herself around my cock before letting me fill her up with my seed. Wow, there's so much. Meredith giggles as she circles her hips. I didn't get to see you yesterday. I fondled her breasts, pulling them out of her blouse. Did you lock the door? Meredith asks. I'm not sure, but if I get up, I'm heading back to work. I have a mountain of work left for me today. So I stretched out, unable to get to my office before visiting Meredith for the day. I feel like someone was watching us. You don't feel that way? Meredith covers herself and then looks at her phone to see Blair has been texting her repeatedly. Are you sure he's not hiding in his office? I yawn. No, he's not here. He usually tries to push up on me right before you get in here to take care of work. I always like chocolate more than vanilla when we went to the Chinese buffet. Meredith giggles, kissing me on the cheek. Helps me focus these days. So much stress lately with everything going on. Some people get coffee in the morning and I need to get a good nut off. Then I'm ready to take on the world. So I take a deep breath while she sits on my lap. I understand. I'm not taking it personally. I'm happy to help. The way you work, I'm surprised you find time for me at all. When's the last time you've ever been on a date? Meredith asked me for the 15th time since we've begun our daily routine. Honestly, I don't remember. The past few years have flown by pretty quickly. I went to an event last night. A few of the real estate investors got together for a rooftop party. I stayed for an hour before heading home. What are you doing next week? A whole week from now? She sucks her teeth. So you're free. Let's go to the shore and enjoy the day on the boardwalk, alright? I offer, kissing her cheek. You know we're just friends, right? Meredith asks me as she stands up and begins to wipe her yawning clean of my semen. So I'll pick you up at noon, I chuckle. I have a boyfriend already. I wasn't offering to go on a date, but I have a girlfriend though. She would love you. She's from Brooklyn and we could all meet up sometime. I didn't know you had a boyfriend. About her. Well, I wasn't going to be bringing it up with you while you're dicking me down daily. I'm taking it slow. My boyfriend is getting to know me for me. He's a charming software engineer, and he's been bringing me flowers. Meredith points to the small vase on the edge of her desk. I had never brought her flowers or taken her on a date. I mean, sometimes we get coffee to get more privacy when we have sex, but she never mentioned this guy. The strange thing was, it didn't bother me. We hooked up a short time ago at a Christmas party and got a hotel for the weekend my first year here. She acted funny for a few months afterward, and then as soon as we got alone one day leaving the office, she was all over me. When we returned to the office that Monday, it was hard to keep my dick out of her knowing she's such a freak. Now she's cucking this other guy? Man, I felt pretty horrible putting her in that situation. When she turned me down, I didn't know it was because she was in love. Maybe we should break this off so you can get more serious with your boo, I suggest. What? Why would I do that? He has no idea about you, and I haven't even had sex with him yet. Like, we talk, but this with you is different. Meredith shrugged my shoulder, trying to get me to relax. Well, I asked you, they didn't say yes, so what are we doing here, I ask. I enjoy more than sex with you. Is our affair that risque? Couldn't we go to a hotel again or stay at your place? If we go out in public, someone he knows might see us. You understand, don't you? Meredith kissed my cheek. That's not a date, I sigh, remembering why I often didn't date women my age. I know, but this guy is so close to my family. We grew up together. I don't want anyone seeing me out with you and dealing with my family. They're not huge fans of black people, so there'll be a lot of unnecessary drama. Can we take a flight somewhere? Then it can just be us on a real beach where no one will care what we make love. We can try new foods and wake up on the beach every day. Blair's out the office. The Wei family is going to China. I think you might want to get away too before the IRS visits Monday. The IRS has been calling you too? I groaned. First she had a boyfriend who's met her family. Now the IRS is ringing her up. Jealous? I'm peachy. Your family's racist? I rubbed my chin. No, of course. They're not racist. My parents are more so... They're white supremacists. I sigh. Baby, don't even focus on them. See, I keep us separate. We enjoy ourselves. My family's nosy and miserable. I want us to get together, but you don't seem like the husband type. I want a family eventually. I at least want to use my youth while I have it. I'm not rushing to be with one person for the rest of my life, I admit. Well, you've been trying to get me pregnant, but you've never asked me to marry you or sleep over at your place, Meredith shrugged. I'm not trying to get you pregnant. We can use condoms. Does it bother you? Well, it used to, but then I found someone who worships me so I can worship you. I'm serious, Andrew. I'm yours fully and always, whenever you want me, but I think he's going to propose soon. She slid back into my lap. Am I just your fetish? I ask as she raises her hips and pulls me back into her heat. Andrew, you're my black king. I've been taking a black experience class in school. I know you're a royalty. I'm telling you, I want you. You can propose to me first. What? I wanted to understand better what you were going through, so I took a class, like you always suggest. Learn about what can elevate you instead of distracting trivia. I'm yours whenever you want to marry me. Meredith continued in my ear. What about your boyfriend? You want me to marry you? You just told me we're just friends. Well, if it bothers you, let me move in with you. I still stay with my parents, and he always visits me. If you want to make things legit, I'm yours. Maynard repeats, giving me every hint a woman possibly could. Let me think it over and check out some plane prices. I had too much on my mind to have to deal with a wedding proposal as well. Well, I have a plug for plane tickets, she smiles. I want to just rent out my dude's jet one way and back. I can pick you up at noon tomorrow, and then we can head off south to Barbados or Antigua for the weekend. I think that one of my favors one of my investees owes me for his luxury jetliners. If I'm going to the Caribbean, we better stay more than a week. Meredith pulled my chin to stare directly in my eyes, hoping for me to return her unrequited feelings. You want to fly commercial? You're trying to flex on me by taking a jet, she retorts as if I had lost my mind. Save your money, baby. We can go to Florida or California. I'm not some high maintenance chick you need to flex on. I can be loyal. I think I would be a great woman for you. If you took me serious, I would like to marry you. You love me? It amused me she thought a private jet was flexing. I love this dick too, Meredith moans as she reaches her second orgasm, her body going to spasms as she clings to my body. Do you love me? I repeat. I do. Meredith looked my eyes. Yes, I love you, baby. Do you love me? I wasn't the one talking about marriage, I sigh. And that's why I have a boyfriend, she smirks, easing further down on my length. You're my friend. I always go to you first with any problem, and I love sex with you. When the coast is clear, we have some privacy. I like what we have, but I know eventually you'll find someone else, or my boyfriend will find out. I know one day this will end abruptly. I want a wedding, and someone who will take care of my family. I know you'll be a good father, but I don't know if you want to be a husband. I don't know. I let her off my lap. So, is this the last time? Meredith frowned as she began fixing clothes and fixing her hem. No vacation then? Well, maybe we can still go out for this weekend for one last fling. Then maybe, just maybe, if you feel like proposing, we can be together. Fiancé trumps boyfriend every day. Meredith giggles, perking up a bit. Let's do it. Take a couple weeks off before my last week working here. I decide as I stretch onto my feet. You're leaving the company? Meredith's mood shifted quickly to concern. Yeah, I put in my 1 month a week ago. I've been quiet about it. You good? I shrugged. I mean, is that smart? Did you think it through, or do you have another job lined up? Many people haven't walked off in the middle of their shifts because they feel like you'll fix this place. You can't just abandon all of them, Meredith pouted. So I'll announce my resignation, take a vacation, then come back to focus on my real estate business. I reassured her I had a plan. Oh, you've been doing real estate? Well, that's also a good idea. I guess that's good for you. Meredith sighs. I'm going to need this vacation because if you leave, I'm out of here. Can I use your card to buy the tickets and maybe some lingerie? I don't entertain too many bad ideas, to be honest. I let her straighten my tie as I grab her wallet. Oh, look, what I found. A debit card. And guess who got paid today? You want me to pay? Meredith shoved me away. Hey, I wanted a jet. I figured if you want to fly commercial, you took responsibility for this suggestion. You need to fund your method if you want us to back your idea. If you invest in the tickets, I'll get... Chapter 6. Andrew Copeland. My boss texted me at 2:17 a.m. to get to his apartment immediately. I roll over in bed, pretending not to see the call. I was enjoying catching up on Baka the Grappler with some popcorn. The last thing I wanted was to have to put on some clothes instead of laying butt naked in my California king-size bed. I only got home from the office probably a few hours ago. Working the last hour in some projects. Getting ready for the proposal this week and preparing for the IRS. I do freaking everything for this guy short of wiping his ass. The last thing he would get from me was my nights too. I practically run his company for him. While he's off snorting coke and doing speeches high off his ass. He probably wants me to pick his ass up from the bar again. Nope. I learned my lesson from last time. My only true reprieve is that I have already submitted my 1 month notice. I have a job already lined up closer to my family. All I need to do is get through this last month with my sanity and dignity. My phone keeps exploding with text messages and sick face emojis. What?
That's how this show ends? I rubbed my head, wanting to be nothing like Muhammad Ali Jr. How do I avoid getting kicked in the balls and choked out? Was that an act of desperation because of Junior's talent? Or was it the beginning of an even greater hero's arc in the next season? I never read the manga or finished the old anime. I guess there's more to watch in the ocean of channels and commercials. If I pick up this phone, he might repay me in cash. He's a jackass, but he does pay nicely. Maybe I'll swing by and check it out, put the money in my pocket, then invest the equivalent in some agriculture and gold stocks on Robinhood at the bar before the last call. I might become a wealthy man when I leave the company. With a few late-night trips like this, who knows? I entertain the text messages as I pull on some clothes. I was slipping back into the suit and blazer I'd taken off a couple hours ago. My boss lived half an hour from me, so heading there wouldn't be much stress. The man had few friends left in the world. No one in the office liked him. I wasn't surprised that would be his first and last resort for help. Could I turn my back on him like everyone else in the company? I stretched out, grabbed the keys to my used Acura, then headed on the freeway toward his place in Hoboken from my place in West New York. He asked me many times if I had a shortcut to cut the 15-minute drive to 7 minutes by shooting straight from my apartment complex to the scenic route. Over the past years, I purchased many of the area's 10 to 30 unit complexes. It chewed a hole in my nest egg, but I should see returns in a few years. One real lesson I've learned from my boss was to move my money out of my hands and into the hard assets before spending it on my own vices. He spends money so frivolously that bankruptcies were constantly discussed with the company's chief financial officer. Wayne claims he no longer had a way to get to our boss to see reality. I pulled up in front of the beautiful view in front of the Hudson River, parked my car in the street, then sauntered to his condo. I rang the doorbell twice, looking around to see if anything was happening this late at night. A few kids were on the beach, the bar was serving their last night rounds, and the drunk mingled with the homeless. I'll probably grab a few drinks and then simmer on the riverfront before heading home. I ran again before looking at my watch and tapping my foot. Were you followed? A soft voice asked from the other side of the door. What? I gripped my teeth. Stop playing games, Blair. Open the door. I look like a booty call out here this late. Were you followed? I asked. The softer voice tried to sound more assertive. Who is that? I asked, ensuring I'm at the right door. I'm sorry, miss. I didn't mean to bother you. I'm looking for Blair Castle. It is Mr. Castle, the voice said, trying its voice to sound tough before breaking into tears and letting the door ajar. Chapter 7. Andrew Copeland. It was dark inside and smelled like liquor. You usually needed to peel Blair up from the downstairs and carry him back up the block. At least tonight he got drunk at his own house. But if you already had a woman here, why would he need my help? I waited before stepping inside, ensuring I wouldn't lose another $250 because he needed to have his butt eaten by a night worker. Instead, he reimbursed me with a company fund, which brings me more to why I needed to get out of this company. Come on, Copeland, get in here. The woman's voice shouted again, hiding behind the door. Miss, you better watch your damn tone with me. I'll be polite, but this motherfucker's got me out of my bed early in the morning. You better not have a gun pointed at me. Can you please come inside? The woman groaned as if her soul had spilled on the floor. You have a terrible attitude, ma'am. I shook my head as I entered. I almost swallowed my tongue seeing the beautiful brunette ripping at her hair. Why did such a fine wrapping always have such coal? A brunette beauty with olive skin wrapped in nothing but a towel was before me. I straightened my back and shut my mouth, trying to piece together why she had the same mole on her shoulder as Blair? I tilted my head in disbelief. None of my clothes fit. I'm freaking out. I got drunk and then I looked in the mirror and I had tits and a pussy. Bro, I need your help. She grabbed me, shaking me until her towel fell, revealing a perfect body with D-cup breasts, wide hips, and a pair of slender dancer's legs. I felt my heart sink as my dick fought my pure hatred towards this person. I kneeled to grab the towel, handing it out and allowing her to wrap up. I could not look away as he covered his breast and shaved vagina, making my dick harder than a rock. Let's take a step back. I pushed her back, looking away and taking off my jacket, trying to cool down as I began to sweat. Knowing Blair liked pranks, he called them loyalty checks. I passed most of them, but you look like a fool if you fell. So I looked around for Blair, calling out his name, searching through the apartment, ignoring the half-naked white woman bouncing around me in her towel before I became a mockingbird. Bro, don't do me like this. It's me. She throws up her hands. Look, go find Blair or I'm out of here. I want nothing to do with anything you two are doing this late. If he's hiding somewhere laughing, I will punch this fucker in his face. I fumed, wishing I was in bed watching Baki instead of playing these games. It's not a joke, she shrieked, beginning to cry, grabbing my shirt and staring me dead in the eyes, with those green eyes dilated, shivering. But it was burning hot in the room. I turned around, looking at the woman again, rubbing my temples. I just saw you yesterday or the day before. How did you get a sex change surgery already? Blair gripped her towel, her towel, as she quivered. I took a deep breath, wanting to hold the girl in front of me, but knowing who it was. I didn't want to get entangled in this drama. I placed my blazer on her shoulders before sitting down on the couch, gathering my thoughts. Shit. I turned to find her right over my shoulder. Am I ugly? She asks. What? You're avoiding me. Blair clung to her towel, looking away. You expect me to take this shit in all at once? I threw my hands up. I thought you would mount me like a tiger once you found out it was me. Some revenge sex for all I put you through. Instead, you give me your jacket and leave the room. I'm an ugly woman, aren't I? Blair grimaced, wiping her eyes. You called me here to dig you down in your female body? I said, irritated. You woke me up for sex? Couldn't this wait until morning? You look great, Blair. Congrats on your self-discovery. I need my sleep, man, and I just got home. Why didn't you call me while I was in the office? I had to drive home right back where I came from. Andrew, I didn't do this to myself. I called you here because I didn't know who else to trust anymore. Blair wrapped his arms around me and I pushed her away again, so confused about everything. Look, whoever you are, I'm not some freaking gigolo. You can pay me for many things, but I don't stick my dick in anything for cash. So I reaffirm as I wash my hands over my face, trying to process any of this. So I am ugly. She stared down at the floor. I didn't say that. You're gorgeous. You're beautiful. But thinking it might be Blair, or Blair might be hiding in a closet, I'm not taking my chances either way. What is this? Did you piss off a genie? So I tried to figure out any way someone could have wholly had changed sexes in 24 hours. Well, thank you, Mr. Copeland. She perked up, pushing her chest together as a devious smile crossed her lips. Chapter 8. Andrew Copeland. I touch her hip, moving her towel from her body, feeling her plump breast and supple butt. Yesterday, this was a 30-year-old man with a gym and drug obsession. Now she's slender, with beautiful curves. I let her wrap her arms around my neck, biting my ear as I stuck 2 fingers inside her sweet wetness. Even still, I couldn't bring myself to an even hard-on thinking about this being Blair. I could easily take all my anger out on this woman's box for the sake of my strife, but it wasn't what I wanted. Even though working so hard for this company soaked up most of my hours for dating, I enjoyed my focus and freedom without a woman complicating my life. Do you have a condom? I asked, knowing the answer. What? Why do you need a condom? Just give it to me raw. Whatever did this, my body's so cold and my vagina is so sensitive. She cooed, licking her lips as my body warmed hers. Are you in birth control? I reinforced, trying to establish any boundary between us having sex right now, despite my heart on poking her in the side. What the hell is with the third degree? I just woke up as a woman today. I didn't expect to want to have sex with you, Copeland. I'm telling you the truth. I'm dripping wet right now. I've never felt like this in my life. It's like my skin is tingling, she explained. If you don't have any protection against disease or pregnancy, we're not doing anything tonight. Let's focus on figuring out how to fix this, okay? I suggest. Go to the store and get condoms. I'm serious. I need this, Copeland. I can't control it. My vagina is screaming at me. I need you inside me, bud. Blair begged, bouncing on my lap as if she needed to pee. I don't want to have sex with you, Blair. It's not because you're ugly. It's because it's you. What happened? What the hell is going on right now? I needed some air. I saw Blair yesterday. Nothing noteworthy, but he was a man. 6 foot something and the bodybuilding meathead type. Now he's 5'4", slender with excellent hips and legs. You have me in the palm of your hands, Copeland. Blair groaned, throwing herself back against me, running her hands across her breast, biting her lips as my heart-on drilled her in the back. Blair, tell me what happened first. I say as her warm, tight vagina wrapped tightly around my fingers. I woke up. I was working out to get yoked. I had a weekend bake on the balcony. Then I took a few lines. I passed out. I got up about 20 minutes ago, and then I started drinking, going through my phone for someone to help me. Now you're here, and I can't stop thinking about the last time I saw your cock in the bathroom. Blair sat up, pushing me back on the couch, trying to maneuver my belt, buckle off my pants. You're a man when that happened, I gulped, remembering what Ellie had said happened to her boyfriend. Yes, but now I feel it as a woman, and I need it in me. Blair growls, tugging at my belt. You woke up as a woman 20 minutes ago, and the first thing you want is some dick. No adjustment period. I'm starting to feel like this is something you've wanted longer than you're putting on. Did you do this to yourself, Blair? I grabbed her hands with one of mine, figuring out the pieces to the puzzle before me. What? No, it's not. It's not like I can't control it or something. I feel hornier than I've felt, and it's not like being a guy. I tried playing with myself, and it wasn't enough. I need you, Blair moaned as I sucked on her breast, wrapping me up in her legs and arms. My belt buckle popped off at one thumb to Blair's surprise. I must still be in bed. I need to wake up from this nightmare before having sex with Blair. I must be dreaming some weird revenge fantasy. No. Now I'm asleep at my desk in the office again. I know I wouldn't have picked up my phone. Is this real right now? How her breast tasted and how she moaned uncontrollably in my ear. It felt too real to be fake. No silicone or cellulite. Blair's a woman. I have no idea what's happening to me. Blair whines, about to rip her hair out as I hear the moist thrust of my fingers pumping before she squirts, shrieking at the top of her lungs before grasping for air, staring at me in awe. She caught her breath. Alright, we need to calm down and drink some cocoa. So I belted out, standing up and marching to the kitchen to the Keurig. I was left alone long enough to finish the first cup of hot chocolate. Then I placed in tea for myself to hopefully get me to bed tonight. I must seem crazy right now. Blair asked, fixing her hair. You look amazing. Is this some medical breakthrough? People would pay billions to have access to this drug. I confirmed, pushing the belt closer to her at the dining room table. She downs the hot chocolate in a few gulps, then slams down the mug, cheering in a fit of giggles.
I was curious how much she had drunk before or after the transformation because Blair's average amount could kill someone his current size. I looked around for bottles or cans or anything, but I couldn't identify where the smell of alcohol was permeating. Where's the alcohol? I knew I should have offered you a drink first. The rest is in the bedroom if you want to join me. It's a bit messy in there from when I first found out and got panic drunk. Blair burped, laughing at it, laughing at its volume. I wasn't ensure you're not going to get alcohol poisoning, so I shake my head at the thought. I only had a few shots, then a couple pills. Then I tried another couple lines of coke, then a blunt. She tracks on both her hands and holds them up to me. I gulped, wondering if I would have to report a dead body today. I enjoy weed from time to time when I'm stressed out. Other than that, I'm not interested. The weed may or may not have been laced with angel dust. I like to surprise these days. There was some residue on it, but I didn't think much about it. Do you think I deserve to become a woman? Blair accuses. If it bothers you, then I think you made the wrong enemy. Especially if neither of us knows what's going on. If you didn't do this to yourself, that means someone wanted your world turned upside down. Who did you piss off recently and investigate? Pretty long list, to be honest. She shrugs, not even wanting to answer. You didn't do this to me? No, I say flatly. I would have never been so cruel to myself to create something so beautiful, yet so ugly on the inside. The creator had to be an enemy with deep pockets and access to a lab and test subjects with years of grudging. I shook my head. Gee, thanks, asshole. Blair crossed her arms. I thought the meeting this week was with Zing Wade to discuss the remaining shares in the company. The rumor was Zing helped Blair found the company, but Blair cheated him out of ownership. I knew that Wade held 30% equity in the company to Blair's 40%. That I and the CFO were paid 10% respectively. The last 10% was in some other company. The rumor is the previous company is a shell corporation created by Blair to fund his drug and partying and give him 50% ownership of the company, 70% if we were loyal to him. And worse, he's even, if we would ever turn against him. I only heard the rumors from Zhang's father, the chief financial officer, Wang Wei. He warned me to leave the company before Blair got in trouble. I took the advice, but what if he was trying to buy my shares to take on Blair's company ownership? Zhang currently worked for a rival firm, so it didn't seem likely unless the new firm wanted to buy out Everbright. Then they would need Blair and me, out of the way. If I quit and Blair has a mental breakdown from being a woman, Zhang will sell the company before the end of the year. I wonder if Blair had figured it all out already. I wonder if he even knew they were working against him this entire time to create such a diabolical pill. I needed to confront Wang without alerting him. I needed evidence before allowing the police to launch a full investigation. My resignation right before this makes me seem guilty. I hear you people have some real meat down there. Where's the Mandingo warrior I heard so much about, huh? I thought you people couldn't wait to pounce on a white woman. Blair tried to convince me. Can you please shut up? I'm trying to figure out how to help change you back. First I need to figure out who did this to you. Who knows? Maybe it was magic. Blair shrugged, rubbing my crotch with her chin. You know, this is sexual assault. I took a step back, only making Blair get on her knees before me. You got proof, big boy? Blair lifted the bulge, growing in my pants with more experience than I imagined. I'm your last ally. I suggest you start respecting me before this whole thing falls out on your head. I warned, staring in her eyes. I expected getting sex as a woman would be easy. You're making this very difficult already. You're not even letting me enjoy being a woman. Blair pressed her new body against mine, trying to stroke my dick erect, but I wasn't feeling it. You never stop being human, with or without a penis. Not to mention, you're still acting like a borderline rapist. Is this how you treat women? I lift Blair into the dining room chair. Do you not see me trying to think? Trying to figure out who did this madness to you? Fine, but before you leave tonight, you're grabbing some condoms and riding my saddle, cowboy. I like this more aggressive side of yours. Blair grabbed my biceps. You work out too? We should live together more often. I want to spend more time with you, and I'll need you because I can't leave the house like this, Andrew. What? No one knows you're a woman or not a woman, Blair. I say defensively I'm willing to give up my freedom to babysit Blair. Yes, but I have zero identification, and if I leave, they may not let me back in, Blair rationalizes. I walk right through the side into the condominiums. Well, you're black. They're afraid to stop you or else you'll record them. You can't go around stopping random black guys anymore. That's black privilege. White people get arrested, but if you arrest black people, you're racist now. I shake my head, not interested in getting into Blair's twisted politics or insane beliefs. I sit, stunned by her stupidity, trying to find a way out of this situation so late at night. I was tired, and there was a beautiful woman regardless of how vile her humanity was. Beside her body was making me horny too. Her nipples hard and cutting the skyline like brown diamonds. It made me want to suck. Chapter 9. Andrew Copeland. I extended my hand to Blair. To her surprise, she took it and I yanked her into my lap. I wrapped my lips around her teeth, tasting her flesh. She moaned, biting her lip as she watched me explore her body. I suckled her breast, kissing down her abs before picking her up from the table, spreading her lips and lapping her juices. So I slid from the table, getting back on her knees before me. She looked up to me, tugging at my belt several times before I relieved myself of my pants. Blair bit her lips, looking at my dick hanging down her chin. She pressed her face to my warm lip, kissing the head and shaft up to my balls. I've never actually sucked a dick before. Blair blushes, beginning to fan herself. I grabbed the back of her neck and shoved my dick down her throat, not wanting to hear any of that crap. Blair moaned, her eyes closed as I stroked her throat, leaving my pre-cum on her tongue. She swallowed it without thinking and continued on her own as I set her free. Blair held my hips, sliding my shaft in and out of her throat until her face turned red. She smiled in delight as she panted to catch her breath. Your dick is like twice the size of my dick, Blair continued as if she couldn't resist herself. But over the table I instructed, pointing to the dining room. Blair bit her lip as if asking if I was sure. I tightened my eyes at her and she moves, rushing through the table and sticking her butt high in the air. I rubbed my swollen mushroom tip against her tight walls, massaging my dick against her cute little vulva. I gripped her hip with one hand, guiding my dick into her with the other until she began to curse and scream how painful it felt. It's my first time, slow down. You can't do this one for slavery, you'll rip me in half, Blair begged. I'm about to take 5 years of pain and suffering out on your ass, Blair. I smack her ass, causing her to moan and squirm, pinned down on the wooden table by my cock. I pulled her back against my hips, burying my cock inside of her. She rose in her toes, bouncing one to the other with her tongue hanging from her mouth. Her eyes rolled to the back of her head as I skewered her, letting her move her hips after a while until she picked her head up, throwing it back with ease, holding herself on her elbows, working my nut up from my balls. Stop claiming my pussy, you're stretching me out, oh my god, Blair begged, but my dick needed to erupt. Blair ran for my dick, falling on her knees, sucking my dick until I came in her mouth and all over her face. This is gonna sound crazy, but I don't even care if I turn back into a man. That was the greatest sex in my life. Blair scooped my seed into her mouth, giggling about the taste. You still need to hold the person accountable who did this to you. It isn't how much you enjoy the sex, there's more to being a woman than sex. Especially if you're fully a woman. Then you're off period, you can get pregnant. They claim the world is harder for women. Blair rolled her eyes, not wanting to hear any of it as usual. You can give him tits and an incredible tight vagina, but you couldn't change him. He needed to fix himself first. At least I got to enjoy it. I can also keep this over his head when he turns back into a man.
The sex was pretty good, I won't lie. I'll stay a few nights and enjoy her until we figure this out. With all the relationships I've had to end or let go to keep this job. You think my life would be worse if I were a woman? I'm a beautiful woman with a fantastic body. I'm pretty sure I get whatever I want out of life now. You're a rich guy and you slept with me. Blair flaunted with my seed dissolving on her chin. You plan to sleep around with a bunch of rich guys? I say in slight disgust, holding out a napkin. I plan to keep sleeping with you. In case you were wondering where I stood on the matter. How do you like it? Blair kissed my cheek. I'm still baffled about what's going on. You're asking a lot of questions around my neck, being honest. I'm asking, will people bow at my feet now that I'm beautiful? So you admit despite having money, power, and 100 workers, people still didn't bow to you. You think now that you're a woman, that would change it all? Why do you sound so cynical about my situation? Blair hated anyone who didn't immediately agree with him. I don't think you're learning anything from your situation. You were a terrible boss. I think most people feared you to some extent because you would threaten them or assault them. Now you're a woman. You can't throw your weight around, intimidate or empower people anymore. You're half my size now. I'm not sure if most people even process this as you. People will likely riot if you walk back into the office like this, acting how you normally act. I don't know. Maybe they'll be happier with a female dictator. But you were facing a mutiny as a man. Whoever did this to you wanted to strip you of everything. I think it was Wang and Zhang. Wang's been talking about bankrupting the company, and his son's spoken about buying it. What better time to buy a company than when its leader missing? Its value plummeted below market value, and its vice president out of the picture. Why would my vice president be out of the picture? Blair grabbed my manhood, stroking it seductively as if it would change the past. I already filed for my 1-month notice a week ago. I'm leaving the company, Blair. I had no idea any of this was happening or would happen. I wasn't going to have my life ran by a dictator. But I'm your dick-taker, and you have no complaints fucking me? I trusted you, bro. What the fuck? You don't even call me or let me know? Blair threw her hands in the air, beginning to cry immediately. You abused your power and authority. You worked me like a horse. I didn't leave the office tonight until nearly 1 a.m. cleaning up your mess. They asked me to come up here to clean up another mess. We have zero rapport for you to tell me I'm quitting. I didn't think you would notice if I left the company. I tossed my hands up, speaking my honest mind. Well, I didn't know you had an issue. Blair crossed her arms over her amazing breasts, squeezing them together, making unable to take my eyes off Blair whether she knew or not. Anytime I try to talk to you, you try to manipulate me like I'm not working hard enough, or not taking things seriously. You're never to listen to what I'm telling you, or take my advice. I could have saved your company if you had listened to me a year ago. Whether the Wei family buys the company or not, you all ran Evan right into the ground. Blair sniffled, trying to find some control again, but began sobbing, clinging to me as tears poured down her face. She wailed like a banshee in my ear, muttering incomprehensibly and digging her nails into my arm. "Oh, listen now. Oh, listen now," Blair repeated in between barely audible ranting and tears. Chapter 10. Andrew Copeland. I stripped off the rest of my clothes as Blair wiped her eyes. I sat back on the couch, stretching out my body and settling in to spend the night. I had to gather my thoughts to help get Blair and all ever bred out of this circumstance. What happened with you and the Wei family? So I pulled her closer, rubbing her back as she gathered herself together, her skin pressed against the other's. Saying I went to college together. We weren't roommates or anything, but we had the same major. We had classes together. Sang was the type who stayed in the library, getting good grades. I enjoyed partying and getting around people. I was president of several clubs, so when he came to me with the idea for a business, he had an idea but no real way to break it to reality. Zhang thought he was smarter than everybody he had ever met. He was worse to work with than me. So I got the team together, the investors and the employees, then took his concept of an innovative technology company and created Everbright, an entertainment technology company. He hated it. He thought I was semantically changing his idea. Still, he didn't see how vastly different the ideas of creating the best headphones and software for music producers differed from hovering cars and 5G towers. I don't want to spend my life playing evil scientist. I wanted to enjoy life and have others party too. So why does he think it's his company? He was the old president, and I had your position as vice president. No one liked working for Zhang, not even his father. We considered making Wang the president, but his expertise only extended to finances. I was the only founder with leadership experience, but my experience was hiring smarter people to do everything, Blair shrugged. You didn't realize you had to be smart too, I scolded. If you keep making fun of me, I won't be sucking your dick again. Blair crossed her arms over her chest. I'm serious, you're getting played on all fronts because of your method. You should hire people who have the expertise you don't possess, but you shouldn't hire people who think they're smarter than you. I would never hire someone who feels they could take my job and work every day feeling like they can do my job. It creates resentment. I let out a deep sigh. Like you wanting to quit over me? Blair frowned. I didn't think I could take your job until I figured out how to save the company. I've been working on it slowly, but it's too big of a movement without your approval. Everyone thinks the company shutting down is inevitable. You can save the company? Blair asked, crawling into my arms and resting her head on my chest. I don't remember the last time someone held me. I never thought it would be you. If you asked me yesterday if I would be speaking to you without getting paid for it, I would have laughed. All of this sex, cuddling, and spending the night. I don't remember the last time I did this with anyone. I let out a deep sigh of relief, enjoying her body against mine. Do you want to spend the night? If you could save Everbright, I'll be eternally in your debt. Blair looked up to me, rubbing my cheek. I nodded. Okay. First, you must stop cooking the books. You do not impress anyone by lying about your numbers. Instead, you need to hire a different CFO than Yang because he sabotages you. Hire a separate bookkeeper, accountant, a financial manager to get as many eyes accountable for the company funds as possible. Let them bicker and debate for their jobs by keeping every cent and dollar well cited. Give the job to 3 men for the price of 1 man's salary because you're paying Wayne nearly $200,000 for something people offer on Fiverr. Next, you need to return the idea of innovation instead of manufacturing. It would cut the overall employees in half. Open up a third company for manufacturing and distribution if you want. If not, return to the original idea of being the cutting edge of entertainment. Then move into media and content creation. Give it a few quarters before you start returning to manufacturing and distribution. You can honestly sell ideas and innovation these days, which seem to be the original idea. We're trying to innovate, manufacture, distribute, and sell, making the company mediocre in everything. We can either focus on innovation and sales or let other companies create equity in their efforts. Our focus will be on manufacturing and distributing. We don't have to do both. And trying to do both instead of outsourcing to malls, tech stores, or even e-commerce is draining us. We have 2 managers paid $150,000 each to oversee these operations, and they're terrible at it. It'll still tread on Zhang's idea, but I think he wouldn't mind as long as I'm not in charge. Blair raised her hands. It could work. There'll be around $1 million back in the budget every year, if not more. We could pay off most, if not all, our debts by the end of the year. Then next year we can reinvest into the company. We can keep the idea for yourself. I'll email you the full proposal I wrote up a couple months ago. He shrugged. You've had this idea for months. Why didn't you tell me? I tried telling you. You didn't want to listen, I groaned. The way family wants to take my company from me.
Well, I did the math on that as well. You have 40% of the company. I own 10%. So you have some Ponzi LLC with 10% withholding. That's 60% majority ownership. So I guess you could maintain control as long as I stay in the company. In a month, however, you'll be at 40% ownership, and they'll have 40% ownership with my 10% distributed or sold. So I haven't decided how to use my shares yet. They'll likely blow the lid on the fake company you have as well. They'll match your head on for ownership until they either buy up the other 20% to push you out, to make your life as hell as they try to buy up your shares to get control of the company entirely. You've really thought this through. I'm the vice president of the company. I had to consider it, especially after talking to Wing today. I know. Okay. I have a better idea than you or Wei. Get this, Jim. I give you all my shares and step down as president. You take control of the company, then we use the legitimate LLC, and repurpose it for the manufacturing and distribution business. This way, your company control will be uncontested, and the Wei family has to pick a fight with an expert. Blair felt like she solved everything but missed a crucial point. I want to leave the company. I've already filed out my notice. I already have other things in line for me. I'm moving forward in my life. I'm sorry. Well, let me try to persuade you why you would want ownership. I could be your secretary while you run the company. You'll have a major pay increase, and any real estate dealings you do won't have to be impeded. I didn't even know you were quitting, but quitting as vice president is not the same as taking control of the entire company. So if you put in your 1 month notice, you would be a new company president next month. What happens to you? Why would you not fix and run your own company? Axe, confused. How could a woman run a corporation? Blair thought it was the most absurd thing he's ever heard. Are you that sexist? Even currently as a woman, you still have the same brain, same soul, and same ideas. You're the same person regardless of being a woman or man, right? I see that your enemies wanted you to be a woman to break you, but you're both sexist. The only real way to overcome this is to confront them and maintain control of your company. I don't want control over the company. I want you to run it, and I want to have sex with you now. That's what I want. Blair sat off me onto her knees, stroking my dick until it's still erect. She looked at my tip, kissing my balls as she stroked me completely erect. I couldn't believe my former boss was worshipping my dick. She looked so amazed at the size that it felt incredible having her tongue lapping around my balls. You act like you've been waiting to suck a dick your whole life, I chuckle. I honestly can't resist myself sometimes, Blair confesses, looking at my dick. It doesn't even feel like my own body. I feel like I'm watching someone else do it. Like some porno. More like a swingers party watching someone's wife suck off the caterer. So I'm your caterer? Did I ruin the mood? Can there be a mood talking about corporate espionage and taking over a company? The conversation's stressful as hell. On top of it, you just want me to inherit your problems. I want to live my own life. I let out a giant sigh of grease in my chest as I watched him try to get me hard again. How could we have a relationship if you don't run the company? Blair takes me out of her mouth for a moment to ask. I was leaving the company slowly to get away from you. I admit, slapping my face. Oh. Blair paused, holding her head. Wow. My head is spinning after that. Maybe I should head to bed. I think that's best. I have to talk to Wing in the morning. Figure out how they turned you into a woman, maybe figure out how to cure it. I sighed, trying to get comfortable on the couch. You don't think that now that I'm a woman, you'll want to try having a relationship with me? Blair asked. I help her, but she crawls up my body instead of standing. She reaches between our legs, sliding herself down my length with a violent moan as her weight slams up my lap. I hold her head up, kissing her neck. Maybe. But I need more than sex for a relationship. If you don't respect me as a human being, especially as a man, what relationship will we have? I do respect you. I made you my vice president because I trusted and believed in you. Blair panted in my ear. No, you need me. And pray to God I can't tell the difference so you can keep using me just like now. You use me for business, now you want to use me for sex. You don't love me, Blair. Blair pushed off me. Fine, we won't have sex. I shook my head, looking down at her, juices glistening on my dick. Most of my relationships with women seem to end this way. I can blame spending so much time working. Reality was that I was an asshole. Cold, calculating, and concerned about finance. I could have acted anyway, but I chose my dick inside her to tell her how I felt. She's trying to give me an entire company, and I can't get past my hatred of him. I needed more information, more time to figure this all out. Yo, Blair, I'm about to go. I let out an exasperated sigh as I started picking up my clothes. Please stay. I'm not angry at you, and you're mad at me. Let's just smoke a blunt and work it out. Blair sniffles, coming out of the bathroom with her eyes red. Look, I'm not trying to catch feelings because you got a pussy now. I need to get some air and some space from this craziness. Plus, I need some sleep. So I lifted her chin and examined her eyes to ensure she didn't sneak more drugs. Andrew, please stay with me. Blair held my arm. We don't have to talk about business anymore. Please stay or else I might. Don't give me an ultimatum. It's a request. It's reality. I would probably just do drugs when you leave, and I'm not in a good headspace. I felt so good when I saw you, better than drugs or alcohol or anything. I want to make you happy. You're the only person I've left, Andy. Who else can I turn to when I was a woman? Who won't laugh at me or leave me to suffer? Blair gripped my hand tight. I didn't feel like Blair was speaking to me anymore. It was this woman, whoever it was, begging me for help. Who else would I go to if I magically turned into a woman tonight? Probably not even my parents. Who would believe I was Andrew Copeland? Who would even honestly know who Andrew Copeland was to care who I had been? Blair was a big name to us, probably in our tech field. He woke up as a random person in the universe, not even himself. Fine. Let's kick it. I'll stay the night. Thank you. Blair hugged me tightly. Wait, I told Meredith we can go on vacation this weekend, I groaned. Remember, I had to catch a flight in the morning. What? Meredith? Why are you two going anywhere together? Blair demanded answers. I was taken aback by her sudden lashing and jealousy and decided my words carefully. Chapter 11, Blair Castle. One night, I felt like I had gone through 4 years of puberty. My body felt soft, supple, and secure in Andrew's arms. I lay in my bed watching cartoons. Well, I watched cartoons while he snored beside me, holding me against his naked body. I felt so warm against my flesh. He felt so warm against my flesh. I never imagined craving a man's touch, but I didn't feel like my usual self. He seemed to feel this was something to fix or reverse, but I didn't feel like Blair Castle. I feel erratic and nervous. My emotions shift by the moment, and I can't decide how I feel about being in Andrew's arms. Even though he held me, I knew he wanted to leave me to go on vacation with my frickin' secretary. She turned me down all the time, but I can see why she picked him, honestly. Are you still up? Andrew yawned, sitting up and looking around the room before throwing himself on the bed. I can't sleep, I sighed, turning to face him. What are you thinking about now? He let out a long yawn, his eyes fluttering open and closed. I'm a woman, Andrew. I didn't ask for this, Andrew. Thinking about how this happened to Everbright and me. I'm mostly thinking about you and Meredith. He groaned at my last sentence. Well, you're in my bed, but you want to go off with her, huh? So I sat up and crossed my arms around my knees, wondering if my life would ever return to normal. Look, I didn't ask you for sex. I didn't ask to spend the night.
You wanted me here. Because I thought you were single and could comfort me, not fuck me and snore the whole night. I'd throw a pillow at him, feeling myself getting heated. Andrew sat on the edge of the bed, rubbing his temples, keeping thoughts to himself. He was always the top to keep his cards concealed through his chest. His heart in his chest. The more I studied him, the clearer I felt about the way what he would say next. Look, you need your rest, and I need mine. I don't live too far. I'll go home and rest like I was doing before I got here. I'll pick you up some groceries, whatever, in the morning. Then I got a plane to catch. Andrew got up, getting to put his clothes on. Okay? I shrugged, not knowing what to say to get him to stay with me. Andrew looked over at me as he got dressed. I clung to my legs, tears slowly falling down my eyes as I cried for the first time in years. At first, I hadn't realized the tears dripping down my cheeks. But the more clothes he put on, the less I could control my sobbing until he stopped getting dressed and sat by my side, wrapping his arms around me. I didn't know you hated me so much, I blurted out, hugging his neck as I tried pulling myself together to no avail. He didn't speak, only patting my back and holding me as I cried. I blinked open my eyes, realizing it was morning. I was back in Andrew's arms, resting on his chest, and he slept softer this time. His chest was rising and falling underneath my head. I didn't want to move, worried I would wake him if I stirred too much. Am I gay for liking him? Can I be gay as a woman if I like a man? Or am I still straight for craving his morning wood pressed against my belly button? I have a woman's body, but I'm still a man on the inside. Yes, I have a woman's desires I've never felt before. The more I stroked his morning wood, the more aware I became of the pain between my legs from last night. Feeling intimidated by his massive cock. I could still feel him inside of me from the last night. My vagina felt sore and swollen but hungry. As he slept, I stroked him with one hand, playing with my breasts and clitoris, letting out moans in his ear in too much pain to take care of him. In one sudden movement, I was on my back, with my arms pinned at my side under one hand, as he spits the other lubricating his mushroom tip. I watched it all, unable to believe it was my own body as he lifted my hips, penetrating deep inside me soon. As sore as I felt, he felt so snug inside me. Our juxtaposed skin clashing as he slowly groaned inside of me. I came in a few seconds, but he moved as if he hadn't noticed. I choked on my moans, so embarrassed to be taken by my employee's cock, but it felt good. I couldn't kiss him as he tried to pull me closer. Feeling it made me too aware of my body. I felt like someone else was having sex as I watched. I was staring at him from underneath, watching him pleasure himself with my body. Whenever I just touched, I felt his breath against my skin. I simultaneously felt so safe and scared. Are you alright? Andrew asked, bringing me back to the senses as I thought I had died and gone to heaven. Am I still a woman? I asked as he dominated me deep inside my vagina. Blair, relax. He tried to quicken his pace, but I panicked, already feeling in pain and more uncomfortable the closer he got to coming inside me. He kissed me tenderly. I instinctively kissed him back, enjoying the feeling of his tongue in my mouth until I began hitting him. I was swatting at him, clawing and fighting to get off my back, feeling sick and running to the bathroom. I bent over the toilet bowl, vomiting. Andrew chased after me, pulling my long brown hair from my face and patting my back vigorously until I was empty. The way Andrew looked at me was 7,000 words, as if someone went from an object of desire instead of someone he detested. While I was vomiting, regardless, he started to shower for me and helped me inside. You're cleaning your toilet, Andrew noted as he left me in the bathroom. I felt my new body. Admittedly, I'm pretty hot, but I wouldn't date me. I guess that's relatively shallow to say. Wow, that's pretty harsh to me. Am I not attractive? Well, yeah, I am beautiful, but am I attractive enough? My unusual insecurities felt magnified as I could not block out the negative thoughts overrunning me until I found it hard to breathe. Are you okay in there? Andrew called out. No. I'm freaking out, I screamed, running out of the bathroom, nearly tackling him to the ground as I busted out of the bathroom.
I ran into him dead on without him moving an inch. I looked up to Andrew, who smiled at me, laughing at me as he wrapped me in a towel, then lightly shoved me on the bed. "Good morning, Master Blair. It's time to conquer the world." The alarm clock began blaring in the background. My face turned beet red, never having had anyone inside my bedroom when I woke up in the morning. Never anyone he cared about anyway. Most people laughed, causing me to get angry and accuse them they just didn't want it bad enough. Andrew smirked, then looked around the room, beginning to nod as if realizing something, but his refusal to speak frustrated me. I mean, hey, I just gave you some pussy, bro. The least you can do is share your thoughts afterward. I've never felt so vulnerable when a black man with a massive cock in my apartment. And even with my full power, I can't do anything. I rubbed my arm nervously, getting up and automatically moving into my workout. To my surprise, Andrew joined me. I usually head to the gym this early. I never considered turning my bedroom into a gym, he said as he admittedly did some push-ups. Well, I consider exercise one of my critical keys to success. I call it the keys to the castle, a la the big homie DJ Khaled, but I don't talk about that with people. I bit my lips as I did my pull-ups. It's a pretty good brand name. Andrew rubs his chin, smelling the dollar signs in the air like the day we first met. I smiled, constantly feeling Andrew was the only person who ever gave me a fair shot. Most people took in the Man Blair Castle having all their suspicions and thoughts about what goes on inside the castle. The truth is, the castle is locked. All people know are the walls, so I let them think about what they want and go as far as possible to see how they see me. I guess that's not the best way to make decisions, but fuck it, it's worked so far. What do you do in your seminars or workshops? Nah, bro, I do YouTube videos. I looked away, unable to look at him as we both stared laughing. What? You have a YouTube channel? Andy asked me. I had a YouTube channel. I sighed, feeling like I wasn't in the mood to work out. I showed some of my friends my videos and they laughed at it. I haven't posted in a while after they laughed at me, saying I should quit. Your friends? Andrew asked, surprised. Chapter 12, Blair Castle. I wanted to cry as he said it, cutting me so deep, but it made me think even more profound. Out of all those people I called Andrew, he was the only one I felt I could trust with my new reality. I guess I was right in my judgment of him. But what did it say on my assessment of everyone else I had in my life? I've never so much as had a beer with Andrew before. He was the only person I ever promised, I ever promoted, because they worked hard. I felt myself staring at him as I processed this question. I'm sorry, I guess that was a dick question. Andrew rubs his neck, looking away nervously before going to the pull-up bar. Despite how awkward things felt in the room, he kept moving, exercising while I sat in the bed and watching him move his 6-foot frame of pure muscle. As he turned around, we made eye contact. I opened my mouth but couldn't speak, feeling confused about my sexuality. I swear I've never really looked at another man and found him attractive. I've had sex with a few guys to assert my dominance, but he was breaking some PRs without effort. It's what my parents always feared. A black man was getting his head together and taking domination over a white woman. Now I'm the white woman he's dicking. My parents would never forgive me if they found out. My body was scared, moving away from Andrew as he approached. I crawled backward until I felt nothing but my pillows behind me. The handsome man before me hovered over me as I spread my legs for him, wrapping myself around his body like a spider monkey. You want to be my weight while I do some pull-ups, he asks? Dude, no way you can lift me, I dare him. He stands up without any effort, peeling me from the bed. I was impressed as he steadied himself with a pull-up bar. My arms wrapped around his neck as he pulled himself up. I felt his back and neck muscles tighten as we raced to the top together. It felt like when we climaxed together last night. Then I easily lowered his back to the earth, preparing to go again. I let go, still unable to deal with how I felt, wanting him to never put me down. Do you think we can find a way to turn me back into a man? I asked. Andrew seemed disappointed for a moment, then gave me a nod. What? I wondered how he felt, how I was starting to think about the situation. If Andy did, maybe my parents didn't matter so much. They weren't fond of the transgender discussion either. I never expected to be at the front of the movement. It doesn't matter how much I felt about it. If you want to be a man again, then let's figure it out before this gets weirder. Having sex with me is weird, I asked. I didn't mean it like that, Blair. I never imagined I would have sex with you. I don't. It's weird because, well, maybe. Jesus, I have no idea what I'm saying. I need to breathe for a second. Andrew shook his head, marching off for the balcony. I felt to feel guilty constantly putting my insecurities on him. He had no idea what was going on inside my head. I couldn't handle hearing what was on his mind. I typically didn't feel so lousy sharing my feelings, but my emotions are new. It's like I'm not even processing them rather than judging and being whatever I feel now. I urged to know such a great guy was leaving my company. It broke even more than Andrew was going because of me. I guess I'd never been so conscious of how much I needed Andrew, especially right now of all times in my life. I can't let him quit on me now. I wish it were easy as having sex with him again, but he rearranged my insides. I didn't know how to convince him to help me when all he wanted to do was hop on a plane to leave me to my fate. I know he was trying to figure out a way to tell me he had to go. Meredith had called him a few times, and I read her text messages about the plane leaving at 9. It was 5 a.m., and my time with him was dead. I rubbed my arm, feeling the fresh air against my nipples, hardening them. Goosebumps ran up and down my skin as I stepped into the doorway. Andrew found my stash. I felt embarrassed and mortified as he thumbed the bag of cocaine and then looked up at me like he was my father. "What is this, young lady?" he asked me. It's coke, bro. Don't fucking judge me, okay? I need it in the mornings. Caffeine isn't enough, alright? I threw my hands in the air. Blair, this isn't cocaine. Look at it closely. It almost looks like heroin. He held the bag out to me. I squinted at the bag, noticing it wasn't a wet powder. It was chalkier than my usual batches from this guy. I've been going to the same drug dealer for years. He slipped me some shit to turn me into a chick. I squeezed the bag in my hand, beginning to hyperventilate, fuming in anger as I processed that. I squeezed the bag in my hand, beginning to hyperventilate, fuming in anger as I processed that one of the most trusted people in my life, my drug dealer, had poisoned me. Blair? Andrew asked. "I'm gonna kill that nigger," I screamed. Andrew pulled back in disgust, rising as if to smack me. My body curled into a ball, instinctively making myself as small as possible as I pulled back my anger, hoping it didn't hit me. "What the hell did you just say?" Andrew demanded. "I wasn't talking about you. You're not the one. You're not like the other ones. I meant the guy who supplies my dealer. I was smoking and doing my lines of coke before work like I do every morning, but yesterday, right there, I had a heart attack, and when I woke up, I was a woman." I panicked. Andrew took a deep breath. "I'm taking that out of your ass when we go back inside. Don't ever use that word again." I wanted to question, but the idea of him being back inside my pussy terrified me. I had no idea whether I could get pregnant, and even less about the science of getting pregnant and turning back into a man. I also had no idea if having sex can keep me this way permanently. "You understand me?" he barks at me, looking me straight in my eyes, half naked on my balcony at 5:30 a.m. Did I want to be a man again? My pussy was on fire, and whatever pain I felt moments ago faded into the image of this man before me. He was about to punish me in sex. I nodded obediently, but he wasn't satisfied, grabbing me by my chin and jerking my head up as I tried to avoid eye contact. Andrew was a scary guy. He was towering over me. We were at least the same size as a man, so I'd never felt scared of him. There would be nothing I could do or think to defend myself, so I complied, feeling completely submissive to this angry black man with his dick in my face. I said, "Do you understand me?" Andrew growled at me as he would toss me off the balcony. "Yes, Daddy. I mean, Andy." So I gasped, so scared of what was happening to me as I looked from him to his dick. We both laughed for a moment as I fanned myself. Again, I avoided eye contact with him, studying every vein in his cock. I crossed my legs one over the other as I took a nug of weed from my stash. Andrew's eyes watched me as lustfully as I broke the weed down. "Do you think you should smoke that?" Andy inquired, taking the weed from me, eyeballing it as if he'd never seen marijuana. "What? You're against weed now too?" I protested. "I mean, if you got all the drugs from the same guy, then maybe the weed's at least too." I wanted to smoke the weed, but I was looking at it, and had powder over it. "I think they were trying to hit you with either the powder or the weed. If you saw the powder wasn't coke," Andrew explained, already having solved everything in his head. I smiled in admiration as he put the pieces together so quickly. I clapped at his deduction, feeling like the Watson to his Sherlock as he helped me to my feet. He gripped my butt as I leaned over the balcony before him, feeling him hard against my vulva. "Let's go kick his ass," I exclaimed. Andrew rubbed his chin. "Well, I'm taking a flight regardless. We can find this guy, figure out why he drugged you, then I can leave the States knowing I helped you out." Chapter 13, Blair Castle. I felt a bit disappointed he was still going on vacation with Meredith. But if I got my body back, it wouldn't matter. I could have any moment I wanted in my bed to forget how Andrew made me feel. I can't wait to see how much sex it takes me to forget about how good sex felt like I was a woman. It feels good as a man, but the feeling of someone inside you, with every sensory receptor feeling their body, is pure euphoria. So feeling stretched to my limit and getting wetter all over his giant dick was also a plus. "Blair, let's go. We can find this guy. I can still make it to the airport afterwards." Andrew was already inside, putting on the rest of his clothes. I was afraid to ask him for sex once more before becoming a man again, but it was fine. It'll be easier to remove the idea of ever having sex with a man from my head. I'll be a figment of my imagination, a moment of weakness given by my shock. I found an old pair of shorts and a t-shirt to wear before we rushed to a shitty car, perfect for where we were going. I mean, it was nice enough, but gross, bro. Spend some real money. I didn't say anything, knowing from experience Andrew was the type of dude to make you walk home or call an Uber if you pissed him off. He had a lot of cutthroat mechanisms that made him the perfect businessman. Still, he had a heart. I know he's never sold his soul like Zhang and me. We arrived in front of my dealer's apartment building in Journal Square. Andrew parked in front, marching straight inside before I could slow him down. Before we can get inside, he was stopped by the security guards holding him back as he shoved him away. "What the hell do you want, rent-a-cop? Get the hell out of my way, I have a business here." Andy demands the way I never imagined a black man doing to an older white man. Whoa, hold on, buddy, we have protocol here. We need to make a copy of your ID and you have to sign in. Just hold on, sir." The female guard tried calming Andrew down and patting his back. I placed myself between them, instantly jealous as she tried soothing him. I reached for my ID to end the situation, realizing I wasn't the same person. The female guard was sizing me up, crossing her arms over her chest as her compassion disappeared. I was staring at the 5'7" black woman, and she was glaring at me like I had stolen something from her as I looked at Andrew, finally complying with the other guard, unaware. I realized our arrangement is set the woman. I opened my mouth to speak, but she stuck her hand in my face, walking away to the other guard. Every time a black man gets a little money, he gets himself a little white bitch. She sucked her teeth, walking away from us. The other guards snickered under their breath at the comment, giving their best professional faces, but Andrew's face scrunched up, and they were waving us on our way to the elevator. First off, I don't have a little money. You know what? Fuck your attitude. How about this? I buy this goddamn dump and sell it. Andrew dared any of them to respond to his threat. The guard nodded us along, talking among themselves quietly, Then I passed by, I'd hear them calling Andrew the head nigger in charge around here. The one black man guard had been laughing, glancing at us impressed with Andrew's display, while the older Italian man and black woman were cursing us about how they hate seeing interracial couples. Oh, this reminded me of when I was there with my parents for my cousin's engagement. He was marrying this gorgeous Indian woman he met at work. We arrived. I remember my mother whispering to my father, "Wow, it's pretty dark in here," again referring to how much of the bride's family had shown up compared to our own. We sat with our own family the entire time. My parents didn't dance or even smile. We left after the cake. I've caught up with my cousin later in life, but he's never dealt with us the same again. I finished realizing it wasn't as funny as I remembered when my parents were laughing to themselves. He acted as if he didn't hear me, so I held on to Andrew's arm tighter, never imagining I would have been affected by the situation. He was pissed off. I'm offended, but the sex was worth the haters. As we entered the elevator, he released an exasperated groan, gripping the metal bar and placing his forehead against the wall. I didn't know what to do at first or what was happening. Are you alright, my dude? I asked nervously, looking away as I pressed 414 and we began rising. I'm tired of having to deal with that type of shit. Whoever I choose to date is whoever I choose to date. It doesn't always have to be a color thing. I don't care what color a woman is, as long as she loves me. I guess, but you don't want to keep the bloodline pure? I say offhandedly, trying to comfort him. What the fuck did you just say? Andrew rose on me, making me step back, hitting the wall and raising my hands to him, shaking. What? My mom says that's important to date in your race so you keep the bloodline pure. I have a cousin who got married when I was around 7, and she told me how important it is not to taint our bloodline, and one drop of black blood and someone was black. I explained rather matter-of-factly. Everyone I knew had those types of conversations with his parents. Andrew glared at me, screaming, "Stop fucking talking, alright?" What did I say? Blair, I already know you're some backwoods redneck racist. Keep that shit to yourself, bro. He moved away from me and we spent the rest of the elevator ride in total silence. Whenever I looked over at him, he shifted his eyes to look away from me. When the elevator stopped, he shoved me forward to find the apartment. I felt so strange, wondering what I possibly said to upset him. Last night felt so passionate as we had sex for the first time. The morning after felt so strange, as if we came back to reality. Andrew, what did I say to upset you? I stopped walking, already afraid of him quitting. He couldn't leave me here by myself. Everything about this situation I'm in upsets me. You talking about how racist your parents are is not my problem. You can go to therapy for that, alright? Let's get this over with so we can go our separate ways. And by the way, the IRS will be here at the office on Monday for an audit. So we need to figure this out now. Andrew banged on the door a few good times. Hey, who the hell is that? Bruno yelled from the other side of the door. Open up, you son of a bitch, Andrew shouted, kicking the door. Fuck you, you dirty nigger, Bruno cursed. Uh-oh, I covered my mouth. Andrew kicked the door wide open, breaking the magnetic lock off the door frame, rushing inside and jumping on top of the portly Serbian man. Andrew dropped punches on him and then stood, beginning to stomp out Bruno until the man started to cry. I slowly stepped in, feeling so embarrassed as Andrew kicked his ass. Andrew finally stopped as he saw me, watching terrified. I guess I was still a woman. As he looked away, they began walking for the door. What the fuck, man? Bruno coughed up a bit of blood rolling to his back and staring up at the ceiling. Figure this shit out, Blair. Andrew demanded, going to the hallway. Calm down. Blair? Where's Blair? Bruno strained, standing up against the cupboard in the luxurious penthouse kitchen. Hey, Bruno. Sorry about that. My friend's having a very rough day. Before I call him back in here to kick your ass again, would you kindly tell me what the fuck did you give me? So I kicked Bruno in the balls, grabbing his head as I began smacking and kicking him myself. Calm down. I don't know what it was. I met this Asian guy who gave it to me. He asked me if I knew the castle. Bruno explained, staring at my breasts. You told me it was grade A, the best coke from China, I screamed. It is. The man who told me it was for you. He said he got it from China, which is a gift for you. Bruno cried out and crawled into a ball, shielding himself in his boxers. Well, look at me, I shout. Bruno cautiously looked up. I noticed. I'm Blair, I motion as I'm going to hit him again, and he shields himself from being hit. You're a real woman. Wow, you are gorgeous, my friend, Bruno said in awe. Who gave you the shit? I demanded. It was some chink who came here asking about you. He seemed like he knew you, Bruno raised his hands. You poisoned me. I stared through his soul, ready to punch him through his heart and rip it out. I would never, Blair. You're my brother, or sister. I would never do that to you. The Asian guy insisted I give it to you when I saw it, and tell you it was great. It was just a day ago. He visited you here? I asked, remembering the people downstairs had the visitor information. Yes, he came here and asked me about you. I thought he was your friend. He bought all my coke, but then he gave me that 8-ball for you, Bruno explained. I used to think he was my friend. What's his name, Zhang? I finally calmed down, wondering how things with Zhang got to this level. Yes, him. He said he was going back to China for more. Bruno goes to the kitchen sink to wash his face, as if something like this always happened. You got any normal shit? Was the weed he gave me legit? He gave me everything I gave to you. I thought it was grade A, premium stuff. He was a chink, you know. I didn't know there would be any harm. Fox News told me Asians never commit crimes. What he used for me seems pretty greasy. Bruno hobbled around, regaining his balance. Can you please not call him that? I don't know why I felt so protective, beginning Andrew's anger. I didn't want to ruin his life over Bruno. Well, I thought I could trust him because, you know, he's Asian. I wish I picked up from the black guy pushing weight in Hoboken. I didn't know, Blair. I got my normal stash of coke and weed. It's on the house. Andrew walks us from the door frame, leaning in and studying me closely. No coke, please. Just give me twice the amount of weed. I hoped it would appease Andrew, but he was unmoved. Bruno shuffled off, going to his safe to get his goods. So he kept the most exotic weed in his supply. I walked over to Andrew, lifting his hands to see his bloody knuckles, holding them tender against my cheeks. I let his hand go as soon as I heard Bruno's footsteps, quickly turning around as if he had seen us. Here, this is straight weed, Blair. I have no idea what happened to you, buddy. I'm so sorry. Here, for you, my friend. He held out 2.5 ounces of weed to us, gesturing for Andrew to accept it. Andrew reluctantly accepted Bruno's gift, tucking it in his pocket where I also slipped mine. Bruno joined us downstairs to get the visitor entry data from the main office. He was surprisingly cheery despite bleeding from his eyebrows. The office was very courteous, printing a copy of Zhang's ID number and address. So we headed back to my apartment where I finally sat on the balcony, happy to have a safe smoke. Meanwhile, Andrew was in the living room on the phone with Meredith about their vacation. Chapter 14. Andrew Copeland. Meredith didn't understand at all about my situation with Blair. Listening to her scream nearly to tears on the other end of the phone once I told her I was with Blair and it was an emergency. Meredith was already at the airport. She had already bought the tickets. She called my phone every 5 minutes, waiting for word from me for the past 2 hours, trusting I'd overstepped. Instead, I was standing her up entirely. Dude, fuck Blair, fuck Everbright. It's about to fold. We're doing this to get you away when the IRS comes. Get your ass over here, Andy. I am dead serious. Meredith was shouting. I wish I could explain what happened, but it's a pretty crazy day. I'll reimburse you and pay for everything, I promise. Just see if you could reschedule the flight. Meredith was silent. What? Do you realize I lied to someone who loves me and wants to be with me
waiting here alone for you just to say you don't want to come because of fucking Blair? Meredith cursed. I'm sorry, Mayor. Please try to understand. It isn't about standing you up, but Blair needs me right now. Can you take your boyfriend? What? Andrew, I didn't even tell him when I was going. He thinks I'm visiting my grandma. Meredith started to have an anxiety attack. Look, baby, just tell the dude you bought for your vacation. I'll reimburse you, I promise. Call your man. I'm sure he'll meet you over there in a heartbeat. Go enjoy yourself without me, I suggested, trying to solve the problem. Meredith sighed. You just didn't want me to come with me, did you? Meredith, I would love to be with you right now. Can you please just listen to me? I'm not standing you up. It's a serious emergency, I plead. I am listening to you. You're telling me you're standing me up after I bought those expensive ass tickets. Get your ass over here, Andy, Meredith demands. Is everything alright? Blair asks at the worst possible time. I held my finger to my lips. You said you were with Blair. Who is that woman with that freaking early in the morning, Andrew? She's why you're standing me up. I swear to God, Andrew. Meredith blew a gasket, freaking out over Blair. I glared at Blair, who hadn't moved but gotten closer. All up in my face in business as she sat in my lap, resting her head on my chest intentionally, looking up at me innocently as she listened to my conversation. Meredith, it's not another woman, it's Blair playing a joke after I told him I had this vacation. I defended myself the best I could, but I knew how things looked. Even more having sex with Blair only this morning. Blair said innocently, pretending she couldn't hear us talking about him. I need to turn him back into a man before he ruins my life more. I just remembered something critical, Meredith. I'm on my way right now. I need you to go to the information desk and make a call for Zhang Wei. I need to speak to them before they go to China. I had my eureka moment believing if we could make the 20-minute sprint to Newark International and leave Blair in my car. I wouldn't mind taking her and Meredith in this condition. You're coming? Meredith cheered. You're still going? Meredith sucked her teeth. I need you to stall the ways until I get there. Or I'll have to hunt him down in China. I'm on my way, I confirm. Oh, Andy, I can't wait to see you. Meredith hung up, going to follow my orders. Get up and get dressed, let's go. I demanded at Blair, who laid on top of me, refusing to move. Blair groaned as I lifted her body into the air, carrying her to the bedroom. Blair slowly stripped off her shirt and shorts, standing naked in front of me. Blair covered her breasts, looking at me, taunting me as she bent over, looking for more clothes to fit. It gave me a fantastic view of her vulva, thigh gap, and top butt, until she stood, shrugging without outfit. Put your clothes back on, then let's go. I clapped my hands, needing to move to catch the Wei family before leaving. Hold on, I don't want to go look at crazy again. I think I have some woman's clothes in here if I remember. Blair shook her butt, reaching deep at the bottom of her drawer. If I'm honest, looking at you now makes me want to crawl back into bed. I palmed Blair's butt and she jerked away. Bro, chill out. I'm not in the mood right now. Blair raised her hands. I nodded, somewhat understanding how trade it must be for him to be inside a woman's body. I felt horny all day. It's different when someone penetrates you or has their hands all over you. You alright, Blair? I asked, rubbing my neck. I don't know, alright. I don't want to talk about it, Copeland. Blair sighs, brushing her head over her face. Copeland now, huh? Yes, now. Please, can you give me some privacy? You can go to your vacation with your girlfriend, Blair sighs. You can talk to me, Blair. What's up? I asked. Blair sat on the bed, pulling on a pair of leggings and a pink hoodie, a bit small for her frame. She dressed, looking sad, refusing to look at me. What? I don't want to go. I don't want Zhang and Wang to see me in this condition, and I especially don't want to see you with your little girlfriend. Also, I thought Meredith already had a boyfriend. Blair begins unloading on me. I took a step back, trying to figure out how to reply, but she was already on to the next thing in her mind. Also, you want to run around all these places, but I need to go shopping. You look great in your suit if I'm with you. I want to look nice. Not only that, you don't know your worth. You're running off to these people for what? A girl who just wants your money, can't even be loyal to her own man. Two backstabbing bastards who would turn me into a woman. Well, I'm here willing to give you everything you want, and you don't want to be with me? Blair wiped her eyes, taking a deep breath to stop her from crying, quickly gathering herself back together. What do you want, Blair? I don't know. I want to be a man again if I never get my body back. I'm sitting here with a man I want to date seriously, but you're on your wave. I hoped last night would have been more persuasive to you, but you don't care. It wasn't as romantic as I thought, so whatever. I thought you would be my brother when I hired you, stand by me and take this company to billions, but you're sneaking out the back door, fucking some chick you know's in a relationship and hanging with my enemies. I didn't know Meredith had a boyfriend. She says she wants me to propose to her before he does, but the situation bothers me too. I felt Blair's concerns because they were many of my own issues. I guess that's better, Blair groaned. Look, Blair, I had no idea the way's going to be trusted. Yesterday gave me a slight vibe to it, but I want to confront them. They're going to try to figure out how to outsource Everbright. They're leaving before our heiress gets here, and I think Wayne emptied the company account. He kept talking about how the business account was empty. He's been going to workers, telling them not to make their sales or do their jobs. So we gotta run down on these motherfuckers. Blair held her arms. I can't like this, Andrew. Blair, being a woman hasn't changed who you are. You're still Blair Castle. These people crossed you and turned you into a woman. You prefer me this way. Blair surprised me. I couldn't reply at first, knowing I preferred her as a woman. Who cares what I want? I do. You're my vice president, and I enjoy having sex with you too. Blair mutters. You want to stay a woman? I never asked to become a woman. Of course I would rather be a man, but so much is happening at once. I can't face them right now. I mean, they planned it. I trusted Zing so much. I always thought maybe we would do what's best for the company. I feel horrible right now. Blair hyperventilated, running to the balcony. Chapter 15, Andrew Copeland. I took all the data at my disposal to make a good decision. Blair was right. And I'll be running into the dragon's mouth surrounded by security guards and people. What can we do rather than be laughed at and mocked by the Way family? My phone began to ring in my pocket, likely Meredith. I already knew it was something about the Way family. Soon the issue at Everbright became clear. Everyone wanted power or pleasure. No one wanted to do the right thing. I'm planning a vacation with a woman I sneak around with having sex, who will never bring me in front of her family or go out with me in public. Am I an idiot? And I know the Way family has tried to sabotage the company to take it. Why were we running to them as the president and vice president? Blair was already rolling another blunt, overwhelmed, and seemed soon to break down in tears at any moment. I knew the right thing to do, but it wasn't what I wanted. At the airport were people who could take away all my pains. I can go to a new country and get treated like a king, give this company over to the Ways and retire in 2 years, then leave Blair alone to fix her life. Barely able to hold herself together psychologically, abandon my entire sales team, and those who needed real training and attention. I'm not sure I have it in me to leave all these people. Leave them to their fate, knowing I was who they looked for a solution. I joined Blair in the balcony. Hey, I just wanted to have a quick smoke and try to relax. I can bring it with me to the car, Blair tried to explain.
It's alright, just relax. I sat by her side, watching the sunrise together. Aren't you gonna miss your flight? I'm not going to Tulum or Fiji. We're gonna go back to my place, and we'll figure out how to shut the wheeze down. Blair was shocked, but didn't complain. She smiled for a second before lighting her blunt, inhaling deeply and closing her eyes. You can stay with me too. I like being with you, Copeland. Blair blows the smoke in my face, grinning like a bandit. First, we're gonna take you shopping for some clothes, grab some food, because I'm starving. We need to figure out how to get some justice for this shit. I explained, accepting the blunt, taking a deep inhale, and letting it go. I thought you hated me. You're just gonna help me become a man again? Blair mused. I have no idea what happened to you. I have no idea how to fix your situation. I'm saying we need to let the Way family know regardless of your circumstance. They didn't get away with it. We can't seem weak, or else they'll never stop. I confirmed, handing her back the blunt. Blair looked at me, reminding me of how Aaron often gazed at me. Blair smiled, looking away with me with a silly smile. She took a short pulse from the blunt. Our eyes met again as I matched her intensity. Do you want to go back to bed for a bit? Blair asked, leaning forward and kissing my neck. You smoke inside too? I asked. I will go with you, but I thought we could enjoy ourselves before I turn back. I don't mind if you bring it up when it's back to normal. My body feels so crazy listening to you right now. Hearing you talk about getting revenge. I believe you when you say it. Blair bit my earlobe. I squeezed her butt, running my hands up her sides to cup her breasts. Blair left me alone in the balcony. The blunt sat on the small table. The powder was there as well. I slid the powder in my pocket and walked back inside, puffing on the marijuana cigar. At first I didn't see Blair until I spotted the bed with only her head poking out from under the blankets. I sat by her side, peeling back the blankets to find her naked. Blair climbed into my lap, taking off my clothes, stripping me down until our outfits matched. I laid Blair on her back, journeying across her folds with my tongue. Watching her back arch as she moaned loud enough for the neighbors to learn my name. As I slurped on her clitoris, she tapped out, rolling onto her stomach and sticking her butt high in the air for me. As my rock-hard cock slid into her steaming hot pussy, my loyalty felt well rewarded. Blair cried, and I buried my entire length inside her guts. I was gripping her hips close to keep her from running away. Blair screamed as I hit her diaphragm, slowly pulling out of her until she stopped with a single hand on my thigh. Your little girlfriend is calling you. Blair giggled as she answered my phone. Andrew, I'm on my way to your apartment. You better have a good excuse for this stunt, Meredith shouted. Andrew is busy. Can I take a message? Blair asked seductively, keeping my phone out of reach. The message is, that is my man. Where the hell is Andrew? Meredith screamed. I thought you already had a boyfriend, Blair teased, jumping off the bed and making me chase her through the house. Who is this? Meredith asked. I pinned Blair down in her back. She was laughing up a storm as I snatched away my phone. That's enough, Blair, I demand. Nigga, I know you ain't with Blair. I'm 5 minutes from your apartment. Tell that bitch to get ready to fight. Meredith was acting out of character, screaming on the other end of the phone. I'm with Blair. Just come to Blair's apartment and I'll explain everything. I sigh. Say less. Meredith hung up. Meredith guided me back inside her pussy from missionary position. It was hard to resist as we kept pace until Meredith called. Blair began shouting, tightening around my cock, unable to speak or scream as she suddenly went silent. Blair's legs wrapped around my waist, holding me inside her as I picked up my pace for more strokes until I could confirm her orgasm. Blair released me. My dick was so hard as a rock as she lay on the couch catching her breath. Go get dressed, I warned. Okay, boss. Blair gave a thumbs up, peeling herself off the couch, shuffling her feet into the bedroom as she likely passed out naked on the bed. I rushed to the door, letting Meredith inside, who immediately shoved me out the way, searching the apartment. The entire place smelled like musty sex and weed. The smell grew more potent in the bedroom where Blair was on the balcony, and only her hoodie smoking. When Blair noticed Meredith, a smile crossed her lips and she came inside. "Miss Capua, how are you?" Blair greeted. "Holy shit." Meredith covered her mouth. "I told you," I say confident in here. "You're in here with some tomboy chick in Blair's apartment." "Where is Blair?" Meredith demanded. "Who's Blair?" Blair teases. I glared at Blair with cold eyes until she averted my gaze. Blair sat in the bed, taking another deep inhale before putting it out. "This is Blair," I accuse. "Why are you in my apartment, Meredith?" Blair asks, pissed off. "Why are you a woman, and why are you having sex with Andrew?" Meredith squared up with Blair. His cock is huge is the answer to the second question. "You can have him back once I turn back into a man. Until then, I'm afraid you have to share him," Blair shrugged. "So the first thing you two do is have sex. Did you call the cops or go to the hospital at all?" Meredith asked. Police, I woke up as a woman," Blair cheeps before laughing. "What is going on, Andrew?" Meredith left Blair to smoke. His drug dealer gave him some powder that turned him into a woman. We ran down the drug dealer earlier. Turns out it was the Wave family. They want Blair out the way to take over Everbright, I informed Meredith. They weren't at the airport. At least they didn't respond to the call. They probably flew out of New York. Meredith hugged me tight around my waist. "They're probably already gone," I said, defeated. "Have you tried calling them?" Meredith asked, so simply that I felt stupid for not considering it earlier. "No, I haven't called them," I admit. "Well, do so. Maybe Wayne can figure it out. If they did it, you know it had to be their plan. So why not see what they had planned to stop it all?" Meredith made it sound so easy. "Only if Andrew does the calling," Blair volunteers my services. "Do I just pretend I don't know you're a woman yet?" I asked, wondering about the logistics of their plan. "See what they know, then work from there," Meredith suggests. I'd Zing and Wing's numbers. I guess I'd never considered it would be so simple as to call them. Meredith and Blair started smoking together when I left the call, finishing the blunt, and then I headed to the balcony to smoke more. They headed to the balcony to smoke more. I was just glad they weren't fighting, given the situation. I knew we can get a refund on our tickets to reschedule our flight. It was hard enough mentally processing anything going on to have to break up a cat fight. Chapter 16, Blair Castle. Today was the first day I ever knew Meredith was incredible. She's overly professional every day at work, brushes me off and acts as if she's annoyed with everything I say or do. Andy was nowhere to be seen, supposedly calling the Wave family while I sat anxiously for any update. "How does it feel being a woman?" Meredith asked as she smoked my weed, her feet up on the balcony as she released vast clouds of smoke. "I don't know. It hasn't even been a full day yet. It feels weird. Moodier than I ever felt before. Everything I do feels super intense. None of my clothes fit, and I had nothing to wear. I just feel super insecure." Meredith nods. "Sounds about right. But there's more to it than being emotional, right? Well, Andy wants to leave the company, and I need him. He wants me to stay on board, but how can I possibly lead as a woman?" I asked. Meredith groaned. "Blair, you being a woman has nothing to do with why you're not fit to run Everbright. It's because you're an asshole. Women are already CEOs of many companies, bro. I mean, let me try to be more sensitive. How am I an asshole?" I snap at her. "You push your weight around, you really keep your word, you treat anyone who isn't white like an alien or make it your point of amusement to make fun of them. You remind me of my dad, or well, my mom now. I guess you can be nice and sweet to people you like, but you look at anyone else like some issue when they're just trying to live their life." "Well, my parents were racist," I threw up my hands. "Great, if you were 5, then it would make sense, but you're in your 30s and still a racist. So what happened in turning 18 and fixing your family's mistakes?" Meredith laid on the pressure. "Nothing. I did fix my issues. Have you considered maybe I'm not racist and there is an issue with dark people?" I asked. "No, I think there's something seriously wrong with our parents for not seeing enough is enough. Do you have any idea what Andrew goes through day to day, or people that look like him?" Meredith asked. "Look, we both know I don't know, and I will never really know, okay? Andrew's parents were from Rosewood, Florida. Their entire town intentionally burned to the ground before he was born. Hundreds of black people got killed, defenseless to stop it. His parents had to hide in a swamp praying for help. The entire town had to evacuate and nothing was left. Why? Because a white woman lied. An entire town burned down because her husband beat her so bad at the end of the day. Black people weren't guilty, and they lost everything because someone lied about their abusive husband. That happened all the time, Blair, and black people still get blamed in large for the actions of a few people. I didn't know anything about that. Did you know that white people commit the most crimes? Did you know a white person murders the majority of white people that die? Did you know? No, I did not. Look, I'm not responsible for any of that. I didn't advocate for it and hired people from every background. I defend myself. But you hired people from every background acting like they're going through the same thing. Some people go home from everybody to sleep in their car in the parking lot until the next day, crossing their fingers that'll work out one day. You may not be responsible for past racism, but you're not doing much to fix the racism of today. Meredith was on me in a heavy way I never knew was possible. I would have rather been punched in the face repeatedly than been faced with this onslaught against my character. Instead, I shifted in my seat uncomfortably, pondering more about Meredith and Andrew's relationship. I didn't understand why the two weren't married if she cared so much about him. Then my thoughts went to my relationship with Andrew and how I may never get to speak to him again in a few weeks. Look, I'm one person, Meredith. Unless someone comes to tell me, then I don't know. I throw my hands in the air. No, they all go to Andrew. And he spent half a year carrying the entire company on his back. It's killing him, Blair. Everyone goes to Andrew with everything and he tries to fix it. It was like sticking a knife in my heart. Meredith covered her mouth quickly after. I had no idea she felt so strongly. Seeing him today and how he responded to the guards and Bruno. I can't imagine how much it bit his tongue dealing with me. We have fought a few times hand to hand, but so have Zhang and me. Well, Zhang turned me into a woman is still my company, so maybe there were a few issues in my approach to business. I don't self-identify as a racist, I state. Well, neither did the enslavers or the U.S. Congress. The KKK doesn't consider itself racist. You bastards have ignored reality and tell some stories as if white men are an endangered species. You all have a lot of fucking nerve, Meredith fumed. You're very passionate about this, I see. I know, trying to bring some sense of peace back. Well, I've been taking a class that's been teaching me things in the past few months that I was never taught my entire time in school. The entire way we tell the history story ignores everything. Why it happened and how horrific America's been, to give people a feel-good story. You see all these people suffering. You hear people say they're abused or disadvantaged and ignore how much our government did to keep it that way. Meredith handed me the blunt as if some reluctant gesture. You don't think the government tried to help those people? I asked, taking a deep inhale. I always thought it was the greatest country on the planet. My parents told me that. We took care of the black people and that racism was over. And it's not because of people like you. Because they said slavery ended. We still need to take care of black people. And that was bullshit, because black people had their cities and towns until white mayors and governors destroyed everything they built. White men never wanted to be wrong about black people, so they made sure they were always right. You have all the money and the power a man can want, and your workers hate you. If men like you aren't even aware that your coworkers and employees hate your guts, then I doubt any of you care about people who don't work for you. I don't anymore at all. People like you want racism too badly to feel better than others. But when it comes down to it, you're not better than anyone. So I deserved what happened to me? I rolled my eyes. No. You didn't deserve to be a woman at all. It's too much of a reward for you. Meredith crossed her arms over her chest. I had no response, thinking this entire time being a woman was my punishment. It was different in some ways, but not in any way that made me feel significantly different. My body was foreign, I felt different, but I was still myself regardless. I'm still white and wealthy. I guess things aren't so bad after all. Did Zhang think so little of me as a person he believed this would shut me down? Does he think so little of women that this was his ultimate trump card? I had nothing else to say to Meredith, and by the looks of it, she had nothing left to say to me either. So we sat silently, passing the blunt back and forth between us instead of cursing me out when the blunt was over. Meredith leaned over and hugged me around my neck. I'm still sure it's hard for you to be going through this, Blair. You're lucky you have such a unisex name. It would be crazy calling you Mike or something. Meredith laughed, standing up and leaving me while she looks for Andrew. Typically, whenever someone went into a rant about how evil white men are, I shut my ears and stayed quiet. I never listened or cared what their logic could have been. I just had no interest in hearing it. I now wonder if I had humbled myself all these years to anyone about anything. Maybe I would have a woman like Meredith who fought so hard for me, even when I'm not around to hear it. I felt jealous of Andrew. He was rich. No, I'm rich. Andrew's wealthy. He had properties, investments, and an entire business outside of Everbright, while still running my company. Andrew also had the admiration and respect of our entire staff. Never did he have to assert his dominance or power. People gave him power and submitted to him quickly because they trusted him. Andrew's everything a leader should be, without even trying to do it. I needed him to take over my company. I came inside feeling dizzy and nauseous as I had never felt before from smoking weed. I felt lightheaded and made it no further than my bed before laying down under the blankets. The entire room was spinning until I heard Andrew march into the room, busting through the door. I sat up quickly, rubbing my skull from my pounding headache. Are you okay, Andy? I asked, feeling so different in front of him than a few days ago. Andrew looked at me as if my genuine compassion shocked him. They're gone. They're out the company of everything, and they're refusing to help turn you back into a man. It's okay, I said timidly, beginning to rub his shoulders. What? Andrew asked, shocked. I mean, I heard what you said, but what can we do about it? I never got my hopes up about changing back. Blair Castle would be pissed off right now. He would want to burn down their house and go to China to kick Wing and Thing's ass. Blair Castle also destroyed his own company. I wouldn't be in this situation if he didn't act that way towards people. Blair Castle wants to know how Andrew Copeland would solve things. I clarified, giving him the floor to speak and lead. Andrew took a deep breath, lay in the bed and closed his eyes. He processed the entire situation in his head, quiet as a church mouse piecing together these thoughts in his head, flipping through his options before he sat up, nearly headbutting me in the face as I had been rubbing his chest and temples as he laid down, studying his handsome face while his brain worked. I moved out his way, watching in awe as he grabbed his phone, calling someone who didn't pick up. Zhang and Wang, this is Andrew. I'm immediately suing you for embezzlement, attempted manslaughter, sabotaging financial reports, self-dealing, and money laundering. Our corporate shareholders will seize your shares within the company. You are both fired. Andrew hangs up. I was shocked by how unadorned yet imposing the accusation had been. Andrew sat up off the bed. His next call was to our corporate lawyer, luckily a friend of his and not the way or me. A smile wrapped on my lips, happy to be sleeping with Andrew instead of fighting against him. I couldn't imagine having him come after me angry. When he fired them, I felt myself come a bit from his intensity. I lay in bed waiting patiently for my Black Knight to return to save my queendom. More importantly, I waited to hear if he would be willing to take it himself, to be the king of my castle. Chapter 17, Andrew Copeland. I had to think like the man I am today, not the days of coming up, fighting for survival and respect. As much as I wanted to kick Zhang's head in for putting me through this stress, the more prominent litigation action had me on Blair's laptop condensing company files into emails to Everbright's lawyer, Daryl Stone. Daryl is a by-the-book, straight shooter who needed everything organized. Hiring Daryl also required an accountant to review our situation and find our money. Everbright was empty. The accounts receivable hit our bank and then bounced to another account, the way family cleaned this out. Blair and Meredith were in bed together watching a movie while I worked in the dining room, trying to figure out how to fix this mess alone. I was frustrated because it felt like my entire time since becoming vice president, Blair was sitting around having fun while I'm working. I came to the bedroom, finding them smoking more weed and giggling like a bunch of idiots while I was ready to explode from anger. "Hey baby," Meredith greets first. "My ass. Did either of you cook?" I asked, already knowing the answer. "What? Why do I have to cook?" Blair retorted. "The two of you sitting here getting high as kites while I'm working, trying to fix your mess, Blair." I felt close to snapping. I already wanted to quit the job. Now I'm doing even more work on the goddamn weekend when I should have been in Mexico. "Baby, relax." Meredith was working on my belt. "I'm not in the mood for sex," I said sternly. "I am." Meredith rose my length over my pants, looking me in the eyes. "Look, it's the weekend. I'm buried in work trying to navigate your poorly organized files. I want some damn food, and I swear to God, if I have to buy takeout right now, I'm gonna home. We can figure this out Monday with the IRS. "I don't know how to cook." Blair throws her hands up. "How do you not know how to cook?" Meredith laughs, turning her attention to Blair for a moment. "I never had to cook for myself before. I don't even think there's food in the fridge, but I have money. I can order whatever," Blair suggests. I rub the bridge of my nose. Two women, and I'm gonna starve. "Hey, I only became a woman yesterday." "Blair, I can fucking cook and I'm a man. I've known how to cook since I was a child. I live alone as you do. I have to feed myself." I was getting so angry with her, and sex couldn't fix my feelings. I've known Blair for years now. When I worked for the sales team, I figured I was a racist, but I needed the job. When I was ready to leave the company, I saved enough money and invested in real estate. When I got promoted to head of sales, I took it in stride. It feels like every time I'm ready to quit this job, there's some new promotion with more responsibility and more fucking work, which is why I wanted to leave. "Do you want me to help?" Blair offers. "You should be the one preparing the audit." "Yes, I want you to help. I have no idea where you keep your files." "The accountant should be preparing the audit," Meredith tries to mediate. "We need to be preparing the files for the accountant. The IRS is going to be here Monday, Blair. The only reason they're coming is something is wrong. The Wade family robbed Everbright. I need you to be accountable. Come on. Everbright is your company." I maneuver. Meredith out of my way, staring straight at Blair. "Hey, I pay my taxes, bro. They're coming here for nothing. Someone probably called them. I know the Wei family had something to do with this. They didn't go to China. Zhang doesn't even speak Chinese," Blair announces confidently. "Then since you know what's going on, tell us, Blair," Meredith suggests. Blair puts her hands behind her head, scrunching up her face as she jogged her memory. She sucked her teeth a bit, then shrugged. "Nothing. You have no reason why they would do this?" Meredith asked. "The only thing I can think about is that they believe turning me into a woman would get rid of me. I guess they're right." "Blair, I'm gone in 3 weeks. I'm taking my vacation. I have 2 weeks saved to pay the time off. You need to step up. You need to get your shit together and fix your mess. It isn't my problem. Come on, Meredith." I toss my hands in the air. Meredith stands following me into the living room before I could reach the door. She grabbed my hand, pulling me closer. Meredith hugged me tight, squeezing me if Meredith tried to prevent me from leaving Blair alone in this condition. She didn't have to speak. I can tell her by her face. She was tearing up, trying to find the words to ask me. "Please, we can't do this to him." Meredith shook her head. "She's an adult. She is a he, Andy. And he's going through a lot, and we can't leave him to fend for himself." "I don't think he'll make it," Meredith explained. Meredith, you can stay and feed a grown woman chicken soup for the soul. I need some air, not sex or weed, all right?" I snatched my arm back. "Please come back when you calm down," Meredith asks. I didn't respond. I was washing my hands of the situation, heading for my car, back to my apartment. Being on my own space felt terrific. I stripped naked and took a shower before climbing to my bed, turning on Bach the Grappler, enjoying some peace. Though I missed the warmth of Blair's body against mine, if so, I dared to imagine Meredith underneath my other arm. Instead, I was alone in peace, but it was empty. My phone rang again. "Hello. Andrew speaking."
I greeted professionally, expecting the taxi inspectors to be at my door. Andy, it's Zing. Hey, buddy. My dad got a furious message from you. Is everything okay? Zing asked, trying to sound like my best friend. But we've never hung out together the entire time we've worked together. I'm suing you and your father. I say transparent as day, unamused by the pandering. Why? I mean, my father said you two spoke only yesterday. Things were going so well. He was saying how sharp you are and articulate. He wanted to speak real business this week. Saying he had a slight accent, but it wasn't Mandarin, Mandarin Wu. It was pompous suburbia, the way all the kids spoke in my high school. After the IRS got done with their audit, I interrogate. Zing sucked his teeth. You know about that, huh? I'm the vice president. I know everything. I'm surprised you know my number. I also know about your trip to China. Convenient. Everything about this is so convenient for you, Zing. Have you ever tried sitting down to talk to Blair? You know what Blair's like, Andrew. He's a brute, an oppressive tyrant who never knows what he's talking about. But I have the true vision. Andrew. Everbright doesn't have to only be a party. We can be the cutting edge of technology and medicine, where the real money is, Andrew. Zing explained his vision. You know my name, but this is your first time calling me. So keep my name out your mouth before I stick my thumb in your ass way. Don't talk to me like I'm fucking stupid. You keep pointing fingers at Blair, but you're chairman of the shareholders, and your father is CFO. You are tanking Everbright on purpose. I was already getting up and putting on my clothes, furious. It's a momentary shift in methodology before new leadership takes over. Zing recited his script. Guess when new leadership took over? It's mine now. I'm taking your shares, Blair's shares, and you are both fired. Do not come back to my office. Do not come to collect your shit. Put the fucking money back into my company bank account, or I'm suing you for that too, I demanded. You cannot have my shares, Zing protested, as if I snatched his toy in the playground. Whining irritated me to my soul. I'm forcing a goddamn buyout, and you will take it. Have you ever spoken to Blair, or did you think he died? Where is Blair, I asked. Blair's as good as dead. We're partners now, Andrew. You and I are going to fix this mess. Don't worry about Blair, Zing assured me. So you are responsible. You know what happened to him? I played his fool for a while longer. Zing was quiet a moment before laughing a bit. I have no idea what you mean, Andrew. Hey, if you talk to Blair, give me a call back. Then maybe you and I can visit him together for some fun, huh? We can all be good friends now. Saying if I find out you did something to Blair, I'm not going to call the cops. I'm going to talk to you man to man, okay? I put him at ease. Yo, what? What does that mean? Are you saying you'll fight me? Huh? You have no idea where I'm at, tough guy. What did I do? Zing dared. You turned Blair into a woman. I dropped into his momentary silence. Zing laughed even louder, as if he were the funniest thing he's ever heard before. But I was stone silent. He eventually settled himself down and took a deep breath. Are you going to turn him back, I asked. Turn him back for what? Do you know how hard it was to make him that way? Do you think this is a fucking kid's cartoon? It was expensive enough to get him that way. He's gone, out of my way. Hopefully he kills himself. Now I have to find a way to deal with you. So you've seen my work, huh? It's my new idea. It's worth billions, Andrew. Pick your team wisely. It's either me or Blair. Zing hangs up. I searched his number on my phone, remembering how familiar it looked. A hotel I had stayed at with Meredith a month or so ago, because her boyfriend would have found out. Regardless, I know where you're at, you fucking bastard. I got dressed quickly. I sprinted to my car, speeding to the W Hotel in Hoboken. It wasn't an apartment complex, so I didn't have to deal with security. I was patient enough with the concierge, and they gave me the details of my business partner's hotel room. I took the elevator up to Zang's room. I found a maid in the room next door, giving her $20 just to knock on. Chapter 18, Andrew Copeland. Hello? Zing called out, peeking out the door. Room service. Time to clean the room. The room is trying to budge inside. I'm entertaining guests right now. Go away and come back tomorrow. Zing growled, shoving her away. Hey, get your hands off me, the woman shouts. Look here, $100. Bother anyone else. I'm entertaining guests. Unless you want to be helpful, get in here and suck my... I cold-cocked Zing, leaping behind the door. I shut his door closed, hopefully locking him out momentarily. Zing didn't defend himself in time to stop me from kicking him square in the head. I grabbed his ass up, dragging him into the room the maid was cleaning next door, and then locking us inside. What the fuck are you doing here? Zing shouts. Change Blair back into a man, I demand. I told you, there isn't a way, you crazy bastard. Are you suing me? I'm suing you for assault, you crazy fucking stalker. How did you find me? Zing screams, holding his bloody nose. You called from the hotel phone, you idiot. So I chased him around the room. Zing jumped onto the bed, trying to unlatch the door to free himself. I slammed his face into the door and then threw him to his back. I was punching him in his face and gut until I felt satisfied. Zing rolled over, crawling away, trying his best to defend himself to no avail. What? Are you gonna kill me over Blair of all fucking people? Zing cursed, holding his bloody nose. Over Blair, over the workers you lied to, over the company you tried to destroy because you couldn't lead it. You made my life a living hell, giving me all the extra work. Now we're here, eye to eye. Tough talk, Zing. You got me working like a dog while you waste all the company's money on this stunt. Sue me. At least let me go to prison for murder to get my rep up. I dare. What do you want, Andrew? Zing held his hands up. Leave Everbright. You and your dad. Leave. I get all your shares. I won't sue you. You don't sue me. Got it? I asked, sitting a hand. And Blair? Zing smiled. How did you turn him into a woman? I asked. Special hormone powder. Patent pending. Bling is nothing without his machismo. If I took away his cock, I took away his soul. I had a laboratory working on the pill to design the premier product launch of new Everbright. Zing sneered. You robbed the company to pay for this, didn't you? How many pills did you make for $1 billion? I shook my head. You would never understand. You will never know what it's like living in Blair's shadow. Blair was putting his cock wherever he wanted. Well, he fucked the wrong man. How much did you make? I roared, grabbing him by his throat. Only 3.5 grams, enough to poison Blair. I can make more. We can be partners. Zing strained. Why? He fucked me in front of my girlfriend. He fucked my girlfriend. He refused to let me do the same. He took my manhood right in front of Elliot, so now I have his manhood. Zing clenched his fist shut. Wait, are you Elliot's boyfriend? I was shocked to be missing such a critical piece to my mind's puzzle. Shut the fuck up. Don't you say her name. You had sex with her too, didn't you? Zing cursed. I never touched Elliot. She's on my sales team. You did this because Blair plucked you in the bum? So I was so blown away by the connection. It was the heat of the moment. Don't judge me. I thought we were friends, and we would take turns. I thought maybe we'd be lovers as well. He did it to me, and he used it against me. Elliot never looked at me the same. You don't know what it's like to have another man make love to you while your girlfriend watches you come on the floor, screaming and cheering him on for more. I feel like an idiot. To watch you enjoy another man, you've ruined my revenge. I was going to do to Blair what he did to me. Zing stood up, quivering on the border of crying. He missed out. It's the best pussy I've ever had before in my life. I unlocked the door. You expect me to just leave now? You think I'll just go quietly after all Blair took from me? Zing barked. I suggest you do, or you're gonna die, and I'm going to jail. You and Blair got your beef. Work it out. You're putting other people's lives on the line playing this yellow and white supremacy bullshit. I don't play your psychological games. If you step foot in Everbright again, or contact Blair without a lawyer, I will beat your ass until you're black.
I hold my phone, revealing the sound recording picking up our entire conversation since the maid knocked on the door. Zhang froze, admitting to being Blair's gay lover. I didn't stare why Blair adapted to having sex with a man so quickly. All those muscles only for him to be bisexual. They both ruined their reputations, friendship, and business, because perhaps in a twisted way, they loved each other and refused to be together. Blair becoming a woman because he didn't want to admit he was gay is a strange form of poetic justice. From the very beginning, they can never be friends because they were in love with one another. Zhang bankrupted this business all to get revenge on Blair. Maybe he would have gotten away with it if he hadn't made me do all the damn work to save Everbright this entire time. They could have just got a hotel room and done their business. Who cares if you're gay? All those people were hurt because two men felt shame for who they were. Unfortunately, neither of their families made it easy. I felt too invested to quit my team. I can never look Meredith in the eyes again if I abandon everyone. I've done too much work to leave these people in the hands of Blair or Zhang. Two men too afraid to be themselves. I was letting everyone suffer due to their lover's tryst. I left Zhang bleeding and getting over his failure alone. I returned to the grocery store, picking up a few things to bunker down with the girls. I hopes of recurring back some favor. I also picked up some Chinese food, starving and feeling like some roasted pork and duck for dinner. I arrived back at Blair's apartment, knocking on the door with no answer. I called Meredith and Blair's phones, only for the call to go to voicemail. I guess I did it all for nothing. Chapter 19, Blair Castle. When Andrew left, things got very awkward very quickly. Meredith tried to console me, but I didn't feel sad rather than crippling self-disappointment. I ran this business ignorantly. I wanted the money, power, and fame, but I guess I had no idea what I was doing. I ended up spending my time in the living room trying to prepare the files for the audit, realizing I was so frustrated. Most of the needed files were still my emails as attachments from months ago. I was hoping someone else would have dealt with them, but it was my job. In my heart, I felt like a failure who deserved everything happening. Being a woman was the only safeguard against all that would befall me. I could change my identity, move to a new state, and start over my life. Find a guy to create a new social credit card, security card, Find a guy to create a new social security card and identification. If I plead to have been in a coma in someone's basement or something. Though, doing the work felt much better. Over a couple of hours, Andrew had been gone. I finished preparing our financial statements and sent them to our accountant. I got on the customer service line with the IRS with an ongoing email about the audit. The more work I did, the better I began to feel about applying my master's degree to studying the company's finances for the past few years. It was impossible to go on without a change of leadership. Someone consistently took out $200,000 every business quarter for all it's worth. Then about a year ago, when most of our sales halted, there was a steady decline as if someone was preparing to sell the company. I couldn't blame the ways alone. Judging by how the company was financially, we needed a massively different direction to save us. A few tens of $1,000s in debt, embezzlement, all our workers stopped doing their jobs. A knock on the door scared me half to death for a moment. Answering the door seemed a bit more complicated than I wanted. If it were the apartment management, they would be looking for me. I mean, here I am, but I'm not a good liar. I swallowed, going to the door to face fate. Andrew rushed inside, pushing past me with fistfuls of groceries. I covered my heart, surprised to see him. He smiled at me, dropping the bags and opening his arms to me. I ran to his arms, wrapping my arms around his neck and kissing him deeply. We kissed, lost in passion, even as Andy carried me to the couch where I'd been working, leaving the groceries all over the floor. He grabbed at my pants, tearing them off at me. I moaned, lifting my hips and kicking my shorts off, fingering my clitoris as he worked at my pants. I sent all the reports to the accountant, I said, hoping he would feel better knowing there was no more work to do. He smirked without saying a word. So he sat, pulling out his phone and handing it to me with a voice file. I listened to it, paying attention to Zing's voice. I gasped in shock, but he advised me to keep listening. Zing confessed to everything he did to me. And why? A agreeing to leave the company and hearing Andrew beat the crap out of Zhang. I went from feeling horny to having my vagina gushing, waiting to be mounted and show my gratitude for what he had done. How did you find him? I cried, trying to continue my tears as they rushed over my face from sheer joy and relief. He called me and I tracked where the call came from on Google. It's all over. But there's no way to turn you back. Andrew let out a sigh. I bit my lip, feeling strange, thinking I would spend my life as a woman now. I hugged my knees, wishing things were different, but glancing at his heart on how horny I felt, I think I might be able to manage as long as he didn't leave me too suddenly. I crawled into Andrew's arms, bringing his head down to kiss me as his hands explored my body. Andrew's strong hands cupped my breast, moving to squeeze my butt roughly before sticking his fingers inside my honey pot. My skin felt on fire, but I had never felt so comfortable in my skin than having Andrew's tongue in my mouth while he fingered my pussy. I sat in his lap, holding his neck while he fondled my breast with one hand, fingering me with the other until I squirted on the couch. "You good?" he asked as I sat up panting. "I've never felt better." I jumped on him, easy to forget everything, being a man a moment as I took out his cock. I surprised myself as my mouth watered, looking at his beautiful dick kissing up to his length and wrapping my tongue around the mushroom tip. I rubbed his balls with my left hand, stroking his cock as I made it disappear down my throat. I've always wanted to suck a dick without feeling self-conscious. I had never had a real boyfriend before, but I've had threesomes and gotten drunk a few times. Taking home whoever would let me bury my dick in them. Being filled felt so different. I took my time working him down my throat and popping him out my mouth, feeling proud of how much I got down before trying to breathe. When he began pre-coming in my mouth, the saltiness and creamy taste pulled on my tongue as I stroked more of his nut into my mouth, savoring his taste as I swallowed it without stopping. "Damn, Blair." Andrew moaned as he squeezed my booty while I worked him up in the back of my throat, loving how he played with my pussy while I sucked at his cock. "You like it, Daddy?" I asked, surprising him with how much I was getting into it. "Bend over." "Whatever you want, Daddy." I moaned, bending over the couch, giving him a show as I shook my butt on the couch, urging him forward. "Wow, this is hot," Meredith noted as she walked in on us on the couch. Chapter 20, Blair Castle. "Hey," Andrew sits up, looking at me and then the groceries on the floor. "We were talking about, the accounting." I giggled at the half-truth, clarifying, "Well, I think we were celebrating the accounting." "Don't stop on my account," Meredith purred, sitting next to us on the couch, grabbing my booty and breast and admiring my physique. "Your hands are so soft they tickle." I squirmed as she touched me, going back to Andy's arms to make room for her. Andrew continued as if Meredith wasn't watching, grabbing my hips firmly and staring down. I gasped as he penetrated me, and groaning and fighting against him as my tight pussy gets stretched by his enormous cock. I watched at an angle, turned on more by seeing his dick inside of me and how much I made disappear in my guts. I could feel him up to my belly button. He laid me on my back and started moving quicker, hammering me into a nice pace. As he picked up his pace, I heard our skin slapping and my juices lubricating his dick, making a noise, filling me with ecstasy as I listened to the soundtrack of our lovemaking. My eyes closed as I relaxed, letting Andrew do all the work as he could slow it down. I looked to find him and Meredith were making out on top of me. I felt uncomfortable, jealous, and angry as Andrew stripped her naked while stroking my pussy. I realized I was jealous of how comfortable he felt with his masculinity rather than Meredith. Watching him grip my hips with one hand, pounding into me as I reached my climax while Meredith moved her arm the couch, offering herself to him literally her plump butt was twerking. I felt relieved as he pulled out of me, unsure how much more I could take from him pounding my pussy. I watched as he moved to Meredith, making her scream as he began beating her pussy up. Her loud moans muted her butt, slapping against his hips as he stood with one leg on the ground, the other on the couch, railing into Meredith with all his force. Meredith cried, eventually biting the arm of the sofa to keep herself quiet, her mascara running down her face as she took all the punishment he had to offer. "Blair, put the ice cream away. Start putting the groceries away," Andrew barked to me. I was going to argue, but seeing how he fucked Meredith, I knew I was his next victim if I talked back. I couldn't handle any more of him right now. I needed an ice pack in my vagina and a nap. If I'd have sex again with his massive dick, I was gonna die. He suddenly pulled out a Meredith, coming at her back and butt as she hung almost halfway off the ground, trying to catch her breath as her body stretched over the arm of the couch. I couldn't help myself taking Andrew's cock in my mouth, gently rubbing his balls as he emptied the rest of his nut in my mouth. I coughed off a bit, having more than I expected in my mouth, like a bullet choking me. Andrew laughed, stepping over me at the head of the bathroom as if we were full of energy. The way he was looking at me or Meredith felt like he was on a battlefield. I couldn't feel my legs or imagine standing after he asked me to put away the groceries. Andrew sang to himself in the kitchen, putting everything away before returning with a bag of Chinese food. I smiled brightly, smelling the food, not realizing how hungry I was until seeing the Peking duck, roasted pork, noodles and veggies, and roasted beef. Meredith fully recovered, picking her fingers into everything as she began eating right in the living room. I was slowly making my way to get plates and utensils and returning to the bedroom to watch TV, because I didn't have a TV in the living room. The weekend was filled with watching one another make love with Andrew until Monday rolled around and it was time to return to work. Then on Sunday, Meredith and I left to go shopping with Andrew and recovered from breaking our backs. When Monday came, I was nervous about being seen as a woman, but I felt braver with Andrew by my side because he was so comfortable. I wore a pencil skirt showing off my legs and butt with a pair of heels, making my calves pop. My blazer matched my dress from the same Italian designer with a blue pastel shirt matching Andrew's outfit perfectly as we entered Everbright arm in arm. People were shocked to see Andrew parading a woman around the office. Even though the office whispered sound traveled to your ears regardless. I felt hot with newfound attention while people who usually avoided eye contact or struggled to speak to me. People were opening doors for me and complimenting me on my outfit. Though I dressed great every day, today was the first day anyone noted it. Everyone, I wanted to gather around. I'm sure you got the group text from Meredith about a huge announcement, so let's wait for everyone to arrive. Andrew broke through the noise, gathering everyone in earshot together. Good morning, everyone, I greeted, curtly keeping a professional game face on while nodding, counting everyone in my mind. The past year's been crazy. This weekend's been even crazier. Blair and I have gotten on the same page in terms of business. With that, the Way family's no longer a part of Everbright, and I'll be taking over effective immediately as president of the company. And Blair will be here as our new CEO, I instruct. Wait, where's Blair? Everyone began murmuring and asking themselves until they realized it was me the entire time. How did this happen? People began asking as the whispers turned into a loud uproar as they wished they had taken back their kindness moments ago. It's none of your business what happened to me. I turned into a woman and there's no turning back. Deal with it. I'm not stepping down as president because I'm not going anywhere. But I recognize Andrew's leadership. Andy's been running this company by himself, and it's time we'll help him to help us. I took the stage laying down the law whether they liked it or not. So with that, Andrew's been paying many of you not to work. Many of you be fired for treason since I can't choke you out. I still have the power to do so, but I've been advised legally not to assault my employees. Now, so everyone knows the castle hasn't gone anywhere. It went under some serious renovations. I flexed, kissing my biceps, holding up a victorious, most muscular pose into a double bicep flex, admiring my body and my reflection across the room. I still look terrific, when most wanted to see me at my weakest. So Andrew's the boss now? I thought you were running out on us. Hurrah from Andrew's sales team stood up from his desk. I couldn't leave you all to the wolves disguised as shepherds, so I decided to take Blair and Everbright for myself. Many of you have pink slips in your desk served by the HR department. If you have an issue, come to my office and we'll discuss it. Leave Blair to her duties. Andrew looked at me for a moment and back to our employees. Is that Blair? Someone asked, but I didn't know enough employee names to recognize them. Do you want to march over there and show you what the OK Gun Corral show is capable of? Or are you going to show me some damn respect the easy way? I challenged, tightening my fist, never afraid to fight even if I lost 100 pounds. Hell, that just made me lighter and faster. That's Blair. How are you a woman? The same person asks again. I think it was Zing's girlfriend, Elliot. Look, I'm going to tell you all this once and once. I tried some bad coke, or maybe it was heroin, and it turned me into a chick. Don't do drugs, kids. Unless you want some new irreversible life experiences and existential crises to
Get your ass to work immediately, and if I catch anyone else on some bullshit, I'll deal with you myself, I snap. Andrew coughs, reminding me politely I was no longer in control. If you do, however, manage to do good jobs, then, well, I'll go drinking tonight on me. So I offered to an interruption of cheers as everyone moved back to their work. Andrew chuckled as we walked back to my office. Well, I guess his office now, if he plans on taking it from me. I was hoping to be his cute secretary, but instead Meredith was here wearing a brand new outfit showing off her cleavage. Alright, I'll see you two later, Andrew claps his hands. Wait, what? I thought you really had the company now. Meredith was far more disappointed at finding out I would keep my office. I am. But I could never get work done knowing you're in the next room. I would never be able to keep my dick out of you. I need to focus. So I took Zhang's office. Andrew grins, leaving us to ourselves. Well, I guess it's business as usual. Meredith rolls her eyes. Hey, thanks for talking to me yesterday. And for tagging me out when Andrew was breaking my back in. He's insatiable. I tried greeting my secretary. Oh my god, tell me about it. I can still feel Andrew inside me. Meredith squealed in excitement, happy to see me walk into the office for the first time since her first day. We began plotting our plans for tonight. No, we wouldn't be able to go back to ordinary sex after last night. I'm unsure how long we could share him, but so far, Meredith gets Tuesday and Thursday, and I got Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sunday. He gets to be by himself Monday and Saturday, but we're going bohemian again. It was refreshing to have something to connect with Meredith on rather than trying to get in her pants. Besides, I don't think I would have fully gotten my head back together without Meredith being honest with me when I needed it most. I couldn't go back to treating her like crap or any of these employees. There were no pink slips, no one was going to lose their job yet, so I needed to rebuild this place so one day Andrew could retire, because I wanted my spot back, or at least have someone more capable take over. I wish I had learned a lesson from all that's happened, but it's too soon to tell. I'm just glad I didn't lose myself. Maybe things are better without some moral at the end of the story to teach some life lesson. I never asked for this to happen to me. Regardless, I'm facing my situation one day at a time. And if I never went back to normal, I'm not sure I would mind keeping in touch with Andrew even after he retires. We never knew each other before this weekend. Well, maybe there's hope for us, but I don't know. Chapter 21. Andrew Copeland. I was staring at all of Zig's belongings from his office. This person also gave me more insight into his files. He was more organized than Blair, but his computer had no actual work. I imagine if there was anything but cookbooks on his father's computer, Harad was looking into that for me. There was a knock on my door as I looked up from my cracking into Zhang's computer. Blair poked her head in with a mischievous grin. She slid into my office and closed the door behind her. Blair tiptoed to my desk as if I couldn't see her, kissing my neck and cheek while rubbing my shoulders. I miss having you in my bedroom where you can take me whenever you want. Blair bites my earlobe, reaching into my legs to rub my cock. You realize we're at work, right? I warned you. Not in the mood for sex. I'm in the mood for answers. What are you looking at? These are the details about the pattern Zhang had created. $1 billion of company funds after 5 years went into this plan. We should be a $1 billion company, but paying their salaries and for this pill to poison you, it's bankrupted us. Your new girlfriend has a $1 billion body. Blair giggles. I guess so. I make room for her to sit on my lap as she starts kissing me immediately, uninterested in more details. I imagine if you're going through it firsthand, she knows more than I ever could about how the pill affects her body and psychology. Blair was turned into a woman, irreversibly, unless we can fundraise another $1 billion. The way Blair slid into the pocket of my desk to pull my dick out of my pants, I could imagine she wasn't too interested in turning back for the time being. It doesn't seem strange how horny you've been recently. I asked, reading about how the pill raised one's libido to insatiable limits. I was a guy my whole life. I'm always horny, but now it's like I can't control myself at all. I've been horny since we got into the office, but I felt myself burning up talking to Meredith about tonight. Blair took my dick out of her mouth, licking all over the head of my dick as if enjoying herself more than I did. I could only nod, unable to think as Blair made love to me with her throat. Blair got up and sat on my desk, spreading her legs and revealing how she'd taken off her panties and was wearing the garter belt Meredith bought for her. I slowly worked my dick into her pussy and her legs wrapped around my waist, holding me in her hot, wet pussy and making the desk shake with every thrust. There was a knock at the door as a shy accountant poked her head inside. She appeared to be watching the whole thing. She pushed the door open, shocked to find us in the middle of coitus. Blair laughed, feeling embarrassed with nowhere to go as I held both her legs wide open. I didn't break eye contact with the new woman, delivering force like a jackhammer into Blair. The IRS rep and I stared into each other's brown eyes until she stood before us, watching us nervously as we continued with our audience. Blair had seen the accountant waving her hands underneath me while letting out deep moans, her back arching as she comes all over my dick. I looked to see the accountant only to hear Blair laugh. "You look like you want to be next," Blair teased, the blushing buxom accountant. "I'm so sorry if this ruins our first impression." I caught my breath, trying to regain control as Blair slid me in and out of her pussy using her legs wrapped around my waist. "Are you going to come soon?" the accountant whispered to me. "May I ask who's asking?" I extend my free hand, the other gripping Blair's neck. Hello. I'm Lynn Casey. I'm here to speak to you about your taxes for the past fiscal year and see your income statements. Lynn rubbed her elbow, standing in the middle of the room. I relented, pulling myself out of Blair, grabbing some wet wipes to clean off my cock, noticing how Lynn bit her lip when I stroked myself clean. Lynn let me see my eyes on her, shamelessly looking back at my dick as she took a seat in front of my desk, giving her a better view. "Blair, you have the files for the audit?" I asked. "Oh, yes, but I left the flash drive in my office." Blair calmed down from my desk with a bit of help. "Alright, hurry back." So I sat back in my chair, unbuttoning the first two buttons on my shirt, trying to cool down a bit. "You two seem very passionate about your business," Lynn notes, loosening her collar a bit, glancing at me once more as she averted eye contact with Blair leaving. "Well, Miss Castle is why you're here, I believe," turning my screen around to show her the files documenting the experiments and pricing of the transformation. "We went through a severe business restructuring over the weekend. We fired our chairman and chief financial officer for sabotaging the company by creating a powder that turns men into women." Lynn curiously scrolled through the files, nodding in agreement as the money began racking up to well over $1 billion. Her eyes kept falling on me, giggling as she poked at my still hard cock. "Sorry, trying to hide it, wait until it goes down, and I can put it back in my pants," I say sincerely. "I didn't eat breakfast today if you need help. That's better than a protein bar." Lynn blushes, jotting down a few notes in her clipboard, then pushes it aside, beginning to tie her hair back in a ponytail. "Can you please?" I ask, grateful as I walk over to her. Lynn bites her lip, beginning to stroke my cock and looking up at me, lustfully kissing down on my balls and looking up to my cock a few times. She laid my cock against her forearm, satisfied with its size, nodding in approval before wrapping her mouth around my dick. When Blair returned, I was finishing on Lynn's butt. Having her bent over my desk, I went back for another taste of the accountant, holding her hips in place as I dove back inside her. She cried in pleasure beneath me, begging me to keep going. "Oh, wow." Blair covered her mouth. "Sorry," Lynn whined. I flipped Lynn around, enjoying the older woman's tight body as she squirmed off of my dick. "I didn't know she was such a freak," I moaned as Lynn slid down, sucking on my cock, swallowing the rest of my nut. Blair shook her head, looking away from us. "Okay, can we get professional now?" "Jealous?" I asked. "Extremely. I didn't leave for you two to keep going without me," Blair protested. "I don't mind watching again," Lynn shrugged, still surfing on my dick. "Is this door locked at least?" Blair checked and stripped down naked. "Wow, this is the same Blair Castle that this pill works wonders. You're so beautiful," Lynn noted. Blair blushed, smiling a bit as she joined us on her knees, taking my dick from Lynn. Needless to say, the audit didn't destroy us, and Lynn helped us quite a bit over the next week to rebuild our business, fix our income statements, and erase any trace of Way's involvement when filing her report. Meredith returned to her boyfriend, claiming Blair and I had a lot to work through alone. The bloke also proposed to her, and they took my advice to reclaim her tickets to celebrate their engagement. As things grew with Blair over the months, I hadn't had sex with Meredith or Lynn, so I could barely get a chance to breathe with Blair alone. I woke up in bed, yawning and stretching out to the smell of pancakes and sausage. I crawled out to find Blair butt naked in my kitchen, using my blender to make smoothies. Blair smiled when she saw me. I hugged and kissed her before I heard her listen to a Khalid Muhammad speech at Dean College. He knows what he's talking about, Blair offered in my arms as I bent her over the counter. Blair relaxed, offering herself to me willingly as we made love on the counter, listening to Khalid Muhammad condemning the actions of her ancestors, and she moaned in agreement, feeding me pancakes and beef sausage from doggy style as we enjoyed our Saturday. The end.